Chapter 4597 Agreed to the competition. Elder C, I've always respected you, but now you're threatening me with your life. Isn't that a bit too much? D. Biming said with a dark face. Elder Si looked like he was sacrificing himself for justice and said, Holy Son, this subordinate is also forced to do this. Miss Zhu really doesn't have the qualifications to become the Holy Son's consort. D. Biming didn't say anything when he heard that. It was just that the murderous aura emitted from his body made everyone in the hall feel a lot of pressure. Elder Si and the others thought to themselves, as expected of the chosen one. It had only been a few months, but the Saint Child's demonic power was already so powerful. Such an outstanding Saint Child definitely could not be spoiled by that pig demon. For a moment, the atmosphere in the hall was very solemn. Elder Xiao's eyes flashed as he said, Saint Child, how about this? Let's have a fair competition. If Miss Zhu can win among the women, we will definitely not oppose you marrying her as your concubine. However, if she is eliminated, you can only take her as your concubine and marry the woman who wins. What do you think? He Xinjiu asked with a smile without waiting for D. Biming to speak. Competition? What competition? If it's a competition of eating capacity, I'm equal to 2. Everyone, she was indeed a pig demon who only knew how to eat. He Xinjiu sighed and continued, originally, to be honest, I didn't take a fancy to your holy son, but my short temper likes to go against others. Since you guys are so against it, I will marry him. Isn't it just a competition? What's so great about it? Other than looks and talent, you can just randomly come up with a question. Eaglesnov 1-0 Wasn't beauty and talent what the consort selection valued? This pig demon had directly excluded these 2 items, so what was there to compete for? Elder Sheng's heart moved, and he gave Elder Xiao a look. Elder Xiao immediately said, Holy Son, since Miss Zhu has already agreed to compete, then well go back and prepare. D. Biming nodded. Alright, then you will follow little Zhu's instructions. The set of questions cannot include the competition of looks and talent. After Elder Xiao and the others responded, they left. Aog curled his lips and thought to himself, this D. Biming even said how good he was to little Zhu. Didn't he compromise in the end? However, he only thought about it in his heart and did not have the courage to say it out loud. D. Biming seemed to have guessed his thoughts and explained, the immortal Ginseng tribe protects a secret of the demon ancestor, and this secret is in a cave. In the past, only after the Holy Sons got married were they qualified to get the jade token to enter the cave. That jade token was divided into 5 pieces, and each elder has 1 piece. Although D. Biming didn't say it clearly, everyone understood what he meant. If Yun Shujiu couldn't get the approval of the Elders Guild, they probably wouldn't have given the jade token in their hands to D. Biming. Although D. Biming was a saint child, the 5 elders were deeply rooted in the snow domain. Forcefully snatching it would not work. That was why he agreed to let He Xinjiu participate in the competition. What he had done before was nothing more than to make the 5 elders take a step back and give Yun Shujiu a fair chance to compete. Prince Charming, does that cave have something to do with the way we left this place, or does it have something to do with the big brick? He Xinjiu asked excitedly. As for the competition, it was not in her consideration at all. What a joke. Which competition didn't she take first place in? Chapter 4598, Preparations before the competition. I heard that a few months ago, there was a strange movement in the cave. The guards said that they saw a large brick being sucked in. Everyone thought that the guards were seeing things, but I felt that there was a high chance that the large brick was really sucked into the cave. As for what is inside the cave, no one knows because only the previous saints have the right to enter. D. Biming said. Yun Shujiu stood up excitedly, it must be the big brick. After all, those guards couldn't make up a big brick even if they made up a lie. After we get married, we'll immediately save the big brick and then think of a way to leave this damn place. Aog immediately poured cold water on this guy. Little Zhu, don't forget, you have to get first place in the competition before you can get married. Those old men obviously don't have good intentions. The questions designed will definitely be disadvantageous to you. Can you do it? Brain-dead fan Buttface immediately jumped out to retort, can you please remove the word can? When has a little fairy not been able to do it? A group of flirtatious bitches still want to compete with a little fairy? A little fairy can beat them even with her eyes closed. The corner of Aoj's mouth twitched. There really was a like owner, there really was a like dog. Chi-Ying did not utter a single word. At this moment, he was feeling conflicted. On one hand, he felt that if Yunchujiu lost, Di Biming might really marry someone else as his concubine because of the pressure. If that was the case, based on this wretched girl's temper, she would definitely cause a huge ruckus. Perhaps, she might even hate Di Biming because of love. Eaglesnov 1, oh Prince Charming, I reckon those old men will need a few days to prepare for the competition. Your St. Child's residence has a library, right? I'll go in and study hard for a few days. I might be able to use it during the competition, A Shinjo said. Although this fellow had a mysterious confidence, he would still make the necessary preparations. Otherwise, it would not be called confidence but arrogance. Di Biming nodded. After settling Aog and the other two, he brought Hei Shinjo and Buttface into the St. Child's Residence's library. There were many books in the library. Even if Hei Shinjo had a photographic memory, it was impossible for her to read all of them. Hei Shinjo could not help but frown. At this moment, Buttface said eagerly, Little fairy, I can help you read some of them. Anyway, our spiritual senses are connected. I will tell you when the time comes. Hei Xinjia's eyes lit up. Although Buttface's memory was a little worse than hers, it was still very good. With Buttface's help, they had more confidence. Immediately, the master and pet duo began to flip through the books. If outsiders thought that these two guys were just playing around, they wouldn't know that they had already memorized all the contents after flipping through them. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. In these 10 days, the people of the Elder Council had already held the preliminary selection of the Consort Selection Assembly and selected 100 outstanding women. Naturally, Xing Rushuang was among them. She secretly made up her mind. That pig demon could not be compared to her at all. This time, the champion of the Consort Selection Assembly would definitely be her. Only she had the qualifications to become the Saint Child Consort. On this day, the Consort Selection Convention officially began. The entire Imperial City had gathered at the Consort Selection Convention's location. There were even people who had come to line up in the middle of the night in order to seize an advantageous position. There were many influential families among them. Their motives were very direct. These women were all selected from layers upon layers. They could help the unmarried juniors in the family select suitable wives. Chapter 4599 The older the wiser. When Hei Shinjo arrived at the Consort Selection Convention, she was really shocked. There were too many people. It was not an exaggeration to describe it as a sea of people. The people of the immortal Ginseng tribe really loved to join in the fun. The moment Di Biming appeared, everyone present knelt down and bowed. Di Biming sat in the main seat of the VIP seats under everyone's gaze. Aog and the other two also sat in the VIP seats. Buttface also got a special seat. He took out a piece of meat and started to eat it. Only when he was full would he have the strength to help, right? Hei Shinjo slowly stepped onto the high platform. The high platform was quite large. Not to mention 100 people, even a few hundred people were very spacious on it. Xing Rushuang and the others were already waiting on the platform. When they saw Hei Shinjo, who was late, their eyes were full of contempt and dissatisfaction. The people below the platform were discussing among themselves, do you see that? It's that pig demon. The Holy Sun said that he wouldn't marry anyone other than her. Did she poison him? Forget it. The Holy Sun is the chosen one. How could he be schemed against by a pig demon? Maybe the Holy Sun likes black ones and pig-nosed ones. Nonsense. The Saint Child was not mentally ill. How could he like a pig demon? It must be a rumor. No matter what, only the winner of this consort selection convention will be the Saint Child consort. Let's wait and see. As the matter was of great importance, Elder Shao was the host of the consort selection convention. He coughed twice and said, "Silence. Silence. The first round of the consort selection convention is about to begin." Everyone quickly quieted down and stared at Elder Shao with widened eyes. They had already heard that the consort selection convention was not about looks or talent. What else could it be compared to? They were really curious. Seeing that everyone had quieted down, Elder Shao slowly said, "If you want to become the Holy Sun consort, then you must know the situation of the Snow Domain and the immortal Ginseng tribe like the back of your hand. Therefore, the first round of the test is a common sense test. The top 50 with high scores will enter the second round, and the rest of the candidates will be eliminated." After Elder Shao finished speaking, he glanced at the women who were participating in the test. When he saw He Xinjiu, his eyes flashed with a hint of schadenfreude. The content of the test was discussed by the people of the Elder Council. It was aimed at this pig demon. Even though the saint's son might have told her some common sense, there were 100 questions on the test paper. It was impossible for her to get into the top 50 no matter what. Elder Shao saw Yun Chuzhou frown, and he was even more delighted. If it weren't for the wrong occasion, he would have laughed out loud. At this time, a maid had already started to distribute the test paper, and the women who were participating began to answer the questions. The crowd below the stage, who were watching the show, naturally did not sit idle. One by one, they began to chatter. Only the top 50 will be able to enter the second round, and 50 people will be eliminated in the first round. The competition is too intense. Of course. This is the selection of the Saint Child consort. Of course, the best of the best will be chosen. I think that pig demon will be eliminated in the first round. She is not from our celestial Ginseng tribe, so she will definitely not be able to answer many questions. That's for sure. Didn't you see that pig demon did not write for a long time? She must not know anything. It's really hilarious. A pig demon still wants to become the Saint Child consort? Shameless. Elder Shao also noticed that He Xinjiu was sitting there in a daze. She didn't even write a word. He was secretly delighted. The older the ginger, the spicier it was. This pig demon would be eliminated very soon. Chapter 4600 Wrongly Judged. On the VIP seats, Elder Sheng and the others looked at each other with a smug look on their faces. Although the process was a little tortuous, he had achieved his wish no matter what. Aog and Chu Mo looked worried. They knew that He Xinjiu had been reading in the library for the past few days, but how many books could she read in 10 days? The questions on the test paper were probably ones that she had never read before. Qi Ying also looked worried. He had thought it through. No matter what, he had to leave the demon region first. Therefore, he was now full of hope that Yun Chuzhou could win the final championship. Seeing He Xinjiu staring blankly, he was so angry that he was twitching. Aren't you exaggerating? Why are you cowardly now? He glared at Buttface, who was gnawing on the bone. Didn't you say that the smelly girl was omnipotent? Why didn't you say it now? Buttface threw the bone he had finished gnawing at Qi Ying and said calmly, "What's the hurry?" The little fairy thought that answering too quickly would make others feel inferior, so she didn't start answering the questions. Qi Ying snorted coldly and was about to refute, but He Xinjiu had already picked up the pen and started answering the questions quickly. He was skeptical of Buttface's words. In his opinion, Yun Chuzhou saw that the time was almost up, so she started to answer the questions randomly. Since they were all multiple-choice questions, he could just randomly tick them. Qi Ying's thoughts were also the thoughts of most people. They all thought that He Xinjiu had chosen randomly and would definitely be eliminated. When the time was up, a maid took the examination papers and had 20 examiners read them on the spot. These examiners were all highly respected people and would not be suspected of favoritism or fraud. Moreover, the names of the examiners had been covered up, so they did not know who they were judging. As they were all multiple-choice questions, a person only needed to read 5 papers and the results would be out in less than 15 minutes. Mu Wu, 72 points, Bai Ziyue, 58 points, Su Yan 62 points, Leng Yao, 65 points. These people's scores were not too high, which was within the expectations of the Elder Council. Because they had to ensure that He Xingjiu was eliminated, the questions were very difficult. 70 points was considered a high score. Elder Xiao's eyes lit up as he read, and he slightly raised his voice. Xing Rushuang got 85 points. Everyone exclaimed in surprise. Xing Rushuang was indeed the number 1 talented woman in the snow domain. She actually got 85 points for such a difficult question. One had to know that the highest score before her was only 75 points. Xing Rushuang did not look pleased with herself, and everyone praised her even more when they saw her. Xing Rushuang glanced at He Xingjiu, who was not far away. Seeing her absent-minded look, she snorted in her heart. She was just a clown. Even if this pig demon became a concubine, she had many ways to deal with her. Elder Xiao continued to announce the results. Yi Qin has 67 points, Peng Yulian has 59 points, Zhu Xiaojiu has 1. Everyone looked at each other. Why was Elder Xiao still stuttering? Or did Zhu Xiaojiu only score 1 point? After Elder Xiao scored 1 for a long time, he shouted in exasperation, "Who was the judge of this paper? Did he make a mistake?" Chapter 46:01. Following Elder Xiao's words, an old man with white hair said, "Elder Xiao, I judged this paper. I checked it 3 times and there's no problem." Elder Xiao snorted. "You must have made a mistake. You guys come over and check it." The few people Elder Xiao pointed at studied the paper for a long time before he stammered, "Elder Xiao, there's no problem with this paper. It's all correct. It's 100 points." This time, both on and off the stage exploded. "Oh my God, did I hear wrong? He said 100 points? That Bauerschwein got 100 points? More than Xing Rushuang? No wonder Elder Xiao took so long. It's 100 points. This is unbelievable. Maybe that Bauerschwein is lucky. Anyway, it's a multiple-choice question. She got it right as soon as she guessed it." You're right. She's completely blind. The person who came up with the question is the same. What multiple-choice questions? Isn't this giving her a chance to take advantage of the loophole? Elder Xiao and the others also felt that He Xingjiu was lucky. They regretted it so much that their intestines turned green. If they had known earlier, they would have come up with the question and answer questions. However, the result was already out. They couldn't deny it, so Elder Xiao had no choice but to read it again reluctantly. 100 points for Zhu Xiaojiu. Xing Rushuang's expression was a little ugly, but she consoled herself. That pig demon had just gotten lucky. The next round would be a question and answer contest, and she would definitely be eliminated. After Elder Xiao read out everyone's results, the woman at the back had no choice but to step down from the stage sadly. Elder Xiao braced himself and began to announce the rules for the second round. The second round will be a scramble for answers. There will be a total of 100 scramble questions. Each person will have 10 points at the beginning. 1 point will be added to each correct answer. 1 point will be deducted if they make a mistake. In the end, the top 20 will advance and the rest will be eliminated. After seeing that everyone had no objections, he began to ask the questions. How many people are there in the immortal ginseng tribe? Begin. The demonic power ball on Xing Rushuang's table lit up, indicating that she was the first to snatch it. She said softly, "There are a total of 309,865 people in the immortal ginseng tribe. Among them, there are 169,700 men and 140,165 women." The audience immediately burst into enthusiastic applause. One did not need to hear the answer to know that what she said was right. If she did not have such confidence, she would not have deliberately said the number of men and women. In the following period of time, there was a chaotic battle. There were correct answers and wrong answers. Only Hei Shinjo sat there calmly as if nothing had happened. Everyone shook their heads. This pig demon definitely did not know anything. She was definitely going to be eliminated in this round. Very soon, Elder Xiao had already read out 70 questions. Xing Rushuang had snatched 15 of them and answered all of them correctly. Her result was far ahead. Elder Xiao was very satisfied with the result. He took out the 71st question and asked, "How many surnames are there in the immortal ginseng tribe?" Begin. No one expected that the demonic energy ball on Hei Xinjia's table would light up this time. Hei Shinjo said in annoyance, "Ouch. I accidentally bumped into it." Elder Xiao sneered. "Even if you accidentally bumped into it, it still counts. Zhu Xiaojiu will lose 1 point. Wait a minute, I didn't say that I don't know how to do it. Isn't it just asking the immortal ginseng tribe about the number of surnames? What's so difficult about that? Let me count. Sheng, Xiao, Bai." Elder Xiao almost burst into laughter when he saw Hei Shinjo counting with her fingers. Chapter 4602 was right again. Elder Xiao glared at Hei Shinjo, thinking that she would probably count until the sky turned dark if she continued counting like this. "Zhu Xiaojiu, if you don't answer, even if you can't answer." Hei Shinjo blinked. "Forget it. I'll just randomly guess one. There are 38 surnames in total." Elder Xiao. How was that possible? How did she get it right? However, he could not openly cheat, so he could only say, "Correct." Zhu Xiaojiu adds 1 point. Hei Shinjo revealed an ecstatic expression. "What? I got it right just by casually saying it? Oh God, my luck is too good." "Elder Xiao, you came up with this question, didn't you? You really came up with it with great skill." Elder Xiao almost spat out a mouthful of blood. It just so happened that he was the one who came up with this question. He consoled himself that it didn't matter even if she got 1 right. Not to mention 1, even if she got 3 right, she might not be able to advance. Moreover, it was impossible for her to get it right all the time. Therefore, he steadied his mind and read out the 72nd question. "How many kinds of herbs are there in the snow domain?" Begin. Xing Rushuang hurriedly pressed the demonic power ball on her table, but it did not light up. This meant that someone had pressed the demonic power ball ahead of her. Xing Rushuang looked around and found that Hei Xinjia's demonic power ball had lit up again. Hei Shinjo shrugged. "Io, why is this ball lit up again?" "Forget it, since it's lit up, I'll just randomly guess. 9,000. Elder Xiao was still a little worried, but when he heard Hei Shinjo say 9,000, he immediately sneered in his heart. There were only 520 kinds of herbs in the snow domain, so this pig demon must have answered incorrectly. He was just happy when he heard Hei Shinjo say, 9,000, no, there shouldn't be so many. "Forget it, in order to express my love for the Holy Sun, I'll answer 520 kinds. It just so happens to be 520. I love you, hee hee." Firstly, he was shocked by Hei Xinjia's shamelessness, and secondly, he couldn't believe that he could get it right like this. Some of the audience below the stage knew the answer and clicked their tongues in wonder. This pig demon really got it right. Although she's quite shameless, isn't her luck too good? She got it right just by randomly guessing. These 2 questions are simple, and the answers are both numbers, so she got it right by sheer luck. It's impossible that the questions after that are all like this. She still has to be eliminated. Elder Xiao gritted his teeth and said, "Correct." Zhu Xiaojiu adds 1 point. He looked at the next question in his hand and thought that the pig demon would definitely not be able to answer this question. Besides, she might not be able to snatch it. What is the accompanying herb of the ice lotus? Begin. Xing Rushuang quickly pressed on the demonic power ball, but it did not light up again. She glanced around in exasperation and realized that the demonic power ball on He Xinjia's table had lit up again. I didn't accidentally bump into it this time. I know the answer to this question. When the Lord fed me lotus seed porridge 2 days ago, he specially told me about the accompanying herb of the ice lotus. He Xinjia's words immediately attracted a lot of jealousy. What? The Holy Sun fed the pig demon with lotus seed porridge? How could the pig demon allow the Holy Sun to feed her with his own hands? Did she not have her own hands? This was too much. At this moment, He Xinjiu stomped her feet and said shyly, Aya, how did I slip up? Damn it. Fortunately, I didn't say that the Holy Sun fed me with his mouth. It's so embarrassing. Chapter 4603 Showing Affection Snap. He Xinjia's words caused Elder Shao to fall down as he wished. Using her mouth to feed her? Wasn't it just a kiss? Holy Sun. You actually kissed such a black face with a pig's nose? Aren't you afraid of having nightmares? Xing Rushuang's face instantly flushed red. She was angry and resentful. If it weren't for the inappropriate situation, she would have wanted to go up and strangle He Xinjiu, who was pretending to be shy. He Xinjiu was secretly happy in her heart. Little brat, can't you all die of anger? And you still want to covet the pretty boy. You're courting death. Elder Shao stood up in a sorry state and said angrily, Zhu Xiaojiu, don't talk nonsense. Answer the question quickly, or you'll lose points. Alright, I'll answer now. The accompanying herb of the ice lotus is the purple stamen lantern flower. Am I right? He Xinjiu said with a smile. Elder Shao said with a stiff face, correct. Give Zhu Xiaojiu 1 point. Great. I got 13 points. I should be able to advance by answering a few more questions correctly. Elder Shao, don't waste your time. Quickly come up with the questions. He Xinjiu urged. Elder Shao was so angry that he almost died. Who was the one wasting time? He took a deep breath and said loudly, the immortal ginseng tribe has a kind of ice silkworm. The silk it spits out can be made into a kind of high-grade cloth. What is this kind of cloth called? Begin. I know the answer. He Xinjiu raised her hand and shouted. Elder Shao really wanted to stop He Xinjiu from answering, but the demonic power ball on her table lit up, and he could not refuse. However, on second thought, if she answered incorrectly, she would lose points. It might not be a bad thing for her to get it. Therefore, he said, Zhu Xiaojiu, answer. He Xinjiu took out a stack of handkerchiefs from her storage ring. It's snow silk brocade. See? These handkerchiefs are made of snow silk brocade. The Holy Sun knows that I like to eat snacks and fruits, so he prepared so many handkerchiefs for me to wipe my mouth with. Elder Shao felt his head hurt a little when he saw He Xinjia's boisterous expression. Could this pig demon be sincere? Otherwise, how could it be so coincidental that she could get every question right? The most infuriating thing was that she was actually showing off her affection in public. This was too shameless. Regardless of whether it was the women on the stage or the women below the stage, their hearts were all shattered. When they thought about how the Holy Sun was actually so gentle to this pig demon, they were in so much pain that they wished they were dead. That was their Holy Sun. How could he do such a passionate thing to a pig demon? Xing Rushuang's face was twisted with jealousy and hatred. This damn pig demon. She must have used some underhanded means to seduce the Holy Sun. Otherwise, the Holy Sun would not have taken a fancy to her. Elder Shao finally calmed down and continued to ask questions. However, He Xinjiu had snatched 4 questions in a row. What was even more infuriating was that not only did she get all the answers right, but she also showed her affection for each question she answered. The girls were almost angered to death. Hei Shinjo looked at her score and said with a smile, "I've already scored 18 points. I'll definitely be able to advance. You guys can compete for the remaining questions. I'll just watch the show." Elder Xiao was furious. His heart moved. He had to think of a way to let Zhu Xiaojiu continue to compete for the answers. As long as she answered a few wrong questions, she would be eliminated. Therefore, he said to the contestants, "This round's ranking will affect the next round. The higher the ranking, the more advantageous the next round will be. So, you have to go all out to avoid missing the opportunity." Chapter 4604, Man and Dog as One, Invincible in the World. Hei Xinjia's eyes lit up immediately when she heard that. "There's such a saying? Then I won't be polite." Elder Xiao sneered in his heart. "I was afraid that you would be polite. Let's see if you will still be smug after you answer the wrong question and get eliminated." Elder Xiao took out the question and read it. "How many miles is it from the southernmost end to the northernmost end of the celestial ginseng tribe?" "Begin." The demonic power ball on Hei Xinjia's table lit up again, and the fellow said with a grin, 305,000 miles. "This is what the Holy Sun told me. The Holy Sun said that when we get married in the future, he will accompany me to walk every inch of the snow domain, leaving behind traces of our love." Although everyone was already numb to this fellow's display of affection, they could not help but feel envious and jealous when they heard this fellow's words. The saint was too romantic. It was just a pity that this romance was only directed at this pig demon. It was really too heartbreaking. Xing Rushwang's hands were tightly clenched under her sleeves. She didn't even notice that her fingernails had sunk into her flesh. "Why?" Elder Xiao announced with a stiff expression, "Correct. Zhu Xiaojiu adds 1 point. Next question." What made Elder Xiao furious was that Hei Xinjiu had snatched all the remaining questions and answered all of them correctly. In the end, Hei Xinjiu obtained 40 points and won the first place in the second round of the test. Xing Rushwang obtained the second place with 35 points. One could imagine how depressed she was. Elder Xiao felt terrible. He had originally wanted Hei Xinjiu to snatch a few more questions. If she had answered incorrectly, she would not have been able to advance. But now, not only did she fail to eliminate this pig demon, she even got the first place. What the hell? Some of the questions were very difficult, and even he might not be able to answer them, but this pig demon could actually answer them correctly? Elder Xiao even suspected that someone had leaked the questions. Otherwise, how could this pig demon answer all the questions correctly? What made him even angrier was that the rest of them were all dead people. How could that pig demon have all the right to answer the questions? A bunch of trash. Xing Rushwang and the others were even more stifled. They had clearly tried their best to snatch the questions, but how could that pig demon have gotten the first place every time? They did not know that Hei Xinjiu had not answered the questions previously because she was studying the demonic power ball on the table. According to the rules, the demonic power ball would light up after the contestants injected their demonic power into the demonic power ball. Once the demonic power ball lit up, the others' demonic power balls would not light up again. This guy soon figured out the loophole. As long as she got a chance to make the demonic power ball light up, she would not withdraw all the demonic power, but leave a trace of weak demonic power. When she continued to answer the questions, she only needed to strengthen her demonic power. No one would be able to snatch the right to answer the questions. This fellow felt that he was awesome. It was a piece of cake to torture these ginseng people to death. In the VIP seats, Buttface raised the meat bone in his hand and waved it crazily at Hei Xinjiu on the stage. He said with his spiritual sense, "Little fairy, how is it? I told you. We are one with the dog and invincible." Hei Xinjiu, why does it sound so awkward? However, some of the questions were really given to her by Buttface. She had to admit that Buttface had rendered meritorious service this time. 30 people were eliminated in the second round, and only 20 people were left on the stage. Chapter 4605 was for the examiners. Elder Xiao took out a few pills and swallowed them. He had no choice. If he did not take some pills that could calm his mind, he felt that he could no longer continue hosting. He was so angry that he was going to die. He Xinjiu looked at him coldly and cursed in her heart. Damn it. I told you to be blind. I should have angered you to death. When Elder Xiao thought of the third round's questions, he suddenly felt that his confidence had returned. This time, that pig demon would definitely be eliminated. There was no suspense at all. He cleared his throat and said, "Everyone, the Saint Consort is going to help the Saint Consort manage the snow domain. Therefore, the content of this round's competition will test each contestant's understanding and positioning of the Saint Consort, as well as their plans for the future. Each contestant's speaking time is half an hour. After each contestant's speech, the 20 examiners on the stage will grade them. The 10 people with the highest scores will advance, and the remaining 10 will be eliminated. You have 1 hour to prepare. The order of the competition will start from the 20th place." The crowd finally understood why Elder Xiao had said that the results of the second round of the competition would have an impact on the third round. There was no doubt that the people who would give speeches later would have more time to prepare. Moreover, they could also learn from the experience and shortcomings of the previous contestants. In addition, the judges would usually not give too high a score in the beginning. The later the order, the more advantageous it would be. The contestants immediately began to prepare. Basically, they would take out a pen and paper to briefly list out a few key points so that they could be organized when they spoke. Xing Rishuang thought of this and snorted coldly. She concentrated on preparing her speech. He Xinjiu leaned back on the chair and crossed her legs as she began to give the 20 examiners a face-to-face meeting. The 20 examiners were scared stiff by this guy's gaze. What did this pig demon mean? Could it be that she was planning to threaten them? What a joke. They were the most fair and selfless. How could they be threatened by a pig demon like her? However, although they said that, they still felt a little scared after being observed by this guy with a sinister smile. What did this pig demon want to do? Fortunately, after He Xinjiu looked at these people a few times, she sat there lazily and basked in the sun. It was as if she was not here to participate in the competition, but rather, to go on an outing. The audience below the stage pointed at He Xinjiu. Do you see that? That pig demon has already given up. How can she not give up? Let's not talk about whether she has the ink or not. Even if she talks like a flower in the sky, the 20 examiners will not give her high marks. This pig demon will definitely be eliminated. Damn it. Calling her to show off her affection, doesn't she know that showing off affection can die quickly? AOG and the others in the VIP seats looked worried. Although they were not worried about He Xinjiu's glib tongue, the 20 examiners had the right to rate her. No matter how well she said it, it was useless. But Face was the only one who looked calm and composed. He said casually, "What are you afraid of? The little fairy is invincible in every battle. Don't worry about this useless heart of yours." Qi Ying laughed coldly in his heart. This stupid dog was an idiot. He reckoned that when that wretched girl said that the sun was square, it also thought that it was right. An hour passed very quickly. Elder Xiao motioned for the woman in the 20th position to begin her speech. Chapter 4606 Zhu Xiaojiu. It's your turn. The woman walked to the center of the stage and began to give a speech. These women were all chosen from thousands of people. Their families were all very good, and most of them were the firstborn daughters of their families. It was not a problem for them to give such a speech. The woman was obviously trying to be steady. Therefore, although what she said was not very exciting, it was still considered normal. What she said was that if she became the saint's son's consort, she would definitely become the saint's son's good wife, so that the saint would have no worries. Most of the 20 examiners gave 7 points, and only a few gave 8 points. In the end, the woman's total score was 143 points. The woman breathed a sigh of relief. Although her score was not too high, it was still within expectations. Next, everyone gave their speeches in turn. Although a few people got less points because they were too nervous, the others still finished their speeches smoothly. Soon, it was Xing Rushwang's turn. Xing Rushwang walked lightly to the center of the high platform. Before she said anything, her bearing alone made the crowd applaud. As expected of the number one talented woman in the snow domain. Looking at her bearing, it was obvious that she was a model of motherhood. Xing Rushwang nodded slightly and said in a gentle voice, "Ever since I was young, the elders in my family have taught Rushwang to put the big picture first and put the interests of the Ginseng tribe first. Therefore, I have the honor to become the saint consort. I will put everyone's interests first." Xing Rushwang's voice was very gentle and pleasant to the ears. In addition, her gentle image was deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. Everyone nodded repeatedly and felt that it was much better than what the previous people had said. At the end of her speech, Xing Rushwang raised her voice slightly and said, "Fellow clansmen, we are of the same origin and root. If I have the honor of becoming the saint consort, I will definitely seek for the well-being of everyone and let everyone live a happier life. Thank you, everyone." Hearing that they were of the same origin, the crowd immediately felt a sense of agreement and began clapping enthusiastically. Xing Rushwang nodded slightly in greeting and then returned to her seat. Elder Xing stroked his beard and his eyes were filled with pride. Rushwang had been carefully nurtured by the Xing family. The other women could not compare to her at all. The 20 examiners on the stage also felt that Xing Rushwang's speech was very good. Most of them scored 9 points, and 2 of them even scored 10 points. Xing Rushwang finally scored 182 points, a full 20 points more than the second place. It could be said that she was far ahead. When Aog and the other two saw that it was He Xinjia's turn soon, they immediately became nervous. To be honest, they really did not have any confidence. But they could not use their strength. They could not go up and force those examiners to give high marks, right? Elder Xiao was overjoyed. It was almost time for the pig demon to make a fool of himself. It was so satisfying. He suppressed the excitement in his heart and said, "Zhu Xiaojiu, it's your turn to give a speech. Let's begin." Her sloppy manner was even better than Elder Xiao's, let alone Xing Rushwang's. The crowd burst into an uproar. "Get off. Get off now. We don't want to listen to your nonsense. That's right, get off now. You're not qualified to be the saint consort. Yes, we won't let a pig demon become the crown prince's consort." Xing Rushwang's eyes flashed with pride when she saw this. These people were all arranged by her. As long as there were people heckling her, those stupid people would certainly follow. Although they couldn't really chase this pig demon away, it would disturb her mind and might even forget her speech completely. Chapter 4607, Evil for the concubine. He Xinjiu listened to those people's curses as if she did not hear them. She looked at those people who were heckling her with a smile that was not a smile. At first, those people were still scolding enthusiastically, but after a long time, they felt a little embarrassed. This was like using all the strength in your body, but hitting a ball of cotton. It was very aggrieved. Elder Xiao then pretended to let some guards maintain order. However, after this incident, the audience and the judges on the stage were no longer in the mood to listen to He Xinjiu. It was because they disliked her from the bottom of their hearts. Elder Xiao said impatiently, "Zhu Xiaojiu, you can start now." He Xinjiu nodded and said clearly, indifferent from the other contestants, "My speech has a resounding name." Everyone pursed their lips. It was useless to talk about a resounding name. No matter how resounding the name was, it was useless. No matter how good-hearted she was, they would not buy it. However, the crowd stretched their necks and waited for a long time, but they did not hear He Xinjia's words. This time, the crowd exploded again. Could it be that this pig demon had forgotten her lines due to nervousness? Ha ha ha, there would be a good show to watch this time. Suppressing the excitement in his heart, Elder Xiao frowned and said, Zhu Xiaojiu, why haven't you started yet? If you continue to dawdle, 15 minutes will be up. He Xinjiu grinned and said, my question is, silence is better than sound at this moment. It can also be understood as silence is golden. What the hell? Everyone was speechless. Was this pig demon playing around? Elder Xiao was about to speak when He Xinjiu spread her hands. It's just a joke. The time before doesn't count. I haven't officially started yet. Come, let's start the timer now. I'm going to give an official speech. Elder Xiao did not agree on purpose, but he thought that he did not stop those people from causing trouble in time. If he refused, this pig demon might cause a ruckus. Therefore, he said with a dark face, all right, the time will start now. You can start now. He Xinjiu cleared her throat and said clearly, the title of my speech is, Do Evil for the Concubine. As the name implies, I became the saint concubine to do evil things. Only then did the crowd burst into an uproar. What? I told you that this pig demon had no good intentions, didn't I? Sure enough, listen to what she said. She just wanted to use the name of the saint concubine to do evil things. This Bauerschwein is too bad. I've never seen such a bad person. She actually said openly that she wanted to do bad things. No matter what, she can't let such a person become the saint child consort. Yes, we definitely don't agree to let this pig demon become the Holy Son's consort. This time, there was no need for Xing Rushuang to arrange people to guide public opinion. Everyone wanted to kick He Xinjiu out of the stage on their own accord. They were all filled with righteous indignation and wished that they could slap He Xinjiu to death. Aog immediately stood up. Little Jiu had always been very smart. What happened today? Could it be that she had lost her mind? Qi Ying also frowned. Although he felt relieved after seeing He Xinjiu make a fool of herself, he still had to rely on He Xinjiu to bring him out of the demon territory. Chu Mo was also very anxious. Her face was full of worry. Only Di Biming remained calm, as if nothing had happened. But Face looked at Qi Ying and the other two contemptuously. What's the hurry? The little fairy must have her reasons for saying that. Just wait for the good show. Chapter 4608 So what if he was cursed for the rest of his life? Elder Xiao finally managed to calm everyone down. He wondered if the pig demon had taken the wrong medicine. Why did he dig a hole for himself? Xing Rushuang sneered in her heart. A pig demon was indeed a pig demon. It was indeed a pig brain. Seeing that everyone had quieted down, He Xinjiu said unhurriedly, let me repeat myself. I became the saint concubine to do bad things. I can understand your anger. After all, I didn't make myself clear. The bad thing I'm talking about is not a bad thing that harms the natural order. It's an errand that offends people. Although the saint child has a special status, some things are not easy to say or do. As the saint child's consort, I naturally have to come out and play the role of the bad guy. I'm the saint child's consort to do the things that offend people and the things that are difficult and unrewarding. Everyone was instantly stunned. They didn't expect that the pig demon would actually mean such a bad thing. They had to say that the last sentence shocked everyone. Compared to what the previous people said, the pig demon's words actually made people understand her true feelings toward the saint son. Yun Shujiu paused for a moment and continued, I'm not afraid of being criticized. I'm not afraid of being criticized by thousands of people, and I'm also not afraid of being said that I'm not worthy of the saint child. As long as I have a clear conscience, as long as we truly love each other, all obstacles will become the cornerstone of our happiness. It's not that I don't know how to be graceful and elegant, but the saint child likes my true nature. Do you want a fake saint child consort, or a sincere saint child consort? Do you want a saint child consort who plans for your family, or a saint child consort who doesn't have a family and puts the saint child first? Do you want a saint child consort who only knows how to speak beautiful words but doesn't do practical things? Or do you want a saint-child consort who doesn't care about her image and is willing to be a bad person? This concludes my speech. Thank you, everyone. After Yunchujio finished speaking, the entire place was dead silent. No one spoke. This was because Yunchujio's last 3 questions had changed something in their hearts. Yes, Xing Rushuang and the others were indeed elegant and noble, but what did this have to do with them? Xing Rushuang and the others all had a big family behind them. No matter who was in power, the first person they would think of would definitely be their family. How could they think of ordinary people like them? Besides, this pig demon would rather bear a bad name than help the saint child. This showed how sincere the saint child was. Elder Shao was a little dumbfounded. He never thought that He Xingjiu would say such a thing. Not to mention the people below, he was also a little persuaded. Although Xing Rushuang was good, she was still part of the Xing family. If she became the saint child's consort, wouldn't old man Xing be above the 4 of them? He quickly despised himself. The saint consort was of great importance, so how could he consider some personal benefits? He must have been bewitched by this pig demon. Elder Shao was about to let the reviewing officer show the results when someone below began to clamor, "Everyone, don't be bewitched by the pig demon's words. His words are quite nice, and he even said that he knows all manners and all demure and elegant things. Bah! If you have the ability, then show it to us." Someone immediately echoed, "Right, what kind of ability is just talking and not practicing? If you can't do it, then it means that everything you said is a lie, and that you're lying to us." Chapter 4609, Manners and Manners. The people who were making a racket were naturally Xing Rushuang's people. With them taking the lead, the others also started to make a racket. What a joke! What manners and manners could a pig demon or a black pig demon have? What elegance could they have? They were almost fooled by this pig demon. Xing Rushuang glanced at He Xingjiu, who was beside her, with contempt, and sneered in her heart. "Let's see how you can continue pretending." Elder Shao was about to stop the crowd from making a ruckus when He Xingjiu chuckled and said, "Since you all want to see it, I'll show you." Yunchujio slowly walked out of the crowd as she spoke. Everyone's eyes immediately widened and they could not believe their own eyes. She was clearly still the same pig demon. She was clearly still ugly, but why was her aura different? If Xing Rushuang's bearing could be said to be the queen of a country, then this pig demon's bearing could be said to be the queen of a country. Her ancestor. There was no comparison at all, okay? This pig demon's bearing was natural, and it carried an air of nobility that made people submit to her. On the other hand, Xing Rushuang's nobility was put on display. This difference was like a beautiful peony and a pretentious little wild flower. Yunchujio walked to the center of the high platform and said with a chuckle, "How is it? Do you think it's okay? Do you know why I didn't show this side of myself in the beginning? Because I treat you all as my family. Why do you need to act pretentious in front of your family? Why do you need to put on an act?" When the crowd saw He Xingjiu, who was smiling sweetly, they felt that He Xingjiu on the platform was not that ugly, especially her eyes that were as bright as the stars, which made her stand out. He Xingjiu turned her head to look at the 20 examiners and nodded slightly. She said, "Since all of you are able to become the judges of the consort selection assembly, you must be highly respected people. I believe that all of you will not do anything to disappoint the saint child." The 20 examiners looked at each other. To be honest, some of them were still hesitating at this moment. Although this pig demon had made them look at him in a new light, wasn't it inappropriate for a pig demon to become the saint child's consort? At this moment, He Xingjiu's aura suddenly changed from grace and nobility to coldness and sternness. Elder Shao, who was closest to her, could not help but shiver. If it were not for his strong demonic power, he might have staggered. The 20 examiners were also somewhat nervous. They did not know why He Xingjiu's aura had suddenly changed. He Xingjiu curled the corners of her lips. "Finally, I want to tell you something. When I participated in a competition, someone shamelessly gave me a low score. Guess what happened to him after that? Yun Shujo did not continue speaking. Instead, she slowly returned to the team. Since the saint child was so fond of this pig demon, even if she could not become a concubine, she would still be a side concubine. Wouldn't it be easy for a beloved concubine to deal with them? Even if they didn't care, they still had family. Forget it, let her pass the test. Anyway, there were still tests to come, and she might not be able to win. Moreover, they felt that even if they gave a high score, it wouldn't affect anything. Perhaps others would give a low score. Therefore, when Elder Shao asked everyone to show their scores, the 20 examiners all gave 10 points without exception. Elder Shao looked at the 10 points and felt as if he was dreaming. Chapter 46:10, Xing Rushuang. After a while, Elder Shao said with difficulty, Zhu Xiaozhou, 200 points, full score. There was sparse applause from below the stage. Some people had already accepted He Xinzhou. Although most people still felt that it was not appropriate for a pig demon to be the saint concubine, they did not reject her as much as before. Xing Rushuang was so angry that she was about to die. Moreover, when she saw Yun Chujia's previous bearing, she felt a faint sense of inferiority. Even if she did not want to admit it, she knew that the bearing that she was proud of could not compare to that pig demon. It was simply infuriating. Elder Shao read the final ranking again. At this time, there were only 10 people left on the high platform. When Elder Shao was about to hold the 4th round of the competition, one of the examiners could not suppress his curiosity and asked He Xinzhou, Zhu Xiaozhou, the person you mentioned earlier who deliberately gave you a low score, what happened in the end? He Xinzhou curled the corners of her lips. Nothing much. I just vividly explained what it meant to not leave any chickens or dogs behind. Even the eggs that the chickens had just laid were crushed by me. The examiner immediately shivered. He was glad that he had given him 10 points. Otherwise, this pig demon would have let him know what it meant to leave no one alive. The other examiners also secretly wiped the cold sweat on their heads. It was a close call. Xing Rushuang's eyes lit up. She came up with a plan and said gently, Miss Zhu, aren't you being too cruel? You should be kind and courteous. Isn't it inappropriate for you to be like this? As soon as Xing Rushuang opened her mouth, everyone's eyes turned to He Xinzhou. He Xinzhou chuckled. Cruel? You have to resort to extreme means when dealing with extraordinary people. Being kind to the bad people is cruel to the good people. I've said before that I became the saint's concubine to do evil things, so I don't care about comments about being cruel. On the contrary, Miss Xing seems to be a kind-hearted and good girl. She's not suitable to be the saint's concubine. I'd better find a nunnery to become a monk. Only in this way can you sweep the floor without hurting the lives of the ants and cherish the moth gauze covering the lamp. Only then can you show your stupid kindness. Oh right, don't pretend to faint just to show my viciousness. After all, your acting skills are really not that good. Xing Rushuang had never met a woman who spoke like a knife before. For a moment, she was rendered speechless. The people below suddenly felt that this pig demon's words were quite interesting. On the contrary, the Xing Rushuang that they thought was perfect seemed to be nothing more than that. Moreover, she was a little hypocritical. Seeing that Xing Rushuang was trembling with anger, Elder Shao quickly tried to smooth things over. Today's competition ends here. The 4th round will be held tomorrow. After leaving the stage, He Xinzhou rushed to Di Biming like a happy little rabbit. She grabbed his arm and said, Let's go back quickly. I want to drink the lotus seed soup. Everyone. Previously, the pig demon had said that the saint's son fed her the lotus seed soup with his mouth. Oh my God, this shameless person, wasn't he openly teasing the saint's son? This was nothing. They watched the saint's son lovingly stroke the pig demon's hair, then took out a handkerchief to help the pig demon wipe his hands. He took out a fruit and handed it to the pig demon. The women's hearts were completely shattered into 108 pieces. They could no longer live. Chapter 46:11. He really had a mouth to feed. Xing Rushuang gnashed her teeth in anger. Thinking of Yun Shijia's humiliation to her, she wished she could tear He Xinjiu into pieces. Seeing Xing Rushuang's ferocious expression, Elder Xing couldn't help but frown. Rushuang, did a little setback make you lose your composure? The consort selection is not over yet. That pig demon is destined not to win first place. Why do you care so much? Xing Rushuang was startled and her eyes reddened. Grandfather, I just can't take it. That pig demon can't compare to me at all. The Holy Sun treats me as cold as ice, but he treats her so well. I really can't figure it out. The Holy Sun is only temporarily bewitched by that pig demon. From today's competition, that pig demon isn't completely useless. Even so, she won't pass tomorrow's test. You don't have to take her to heart, Elder Xing said firmly. Xing Rushuang thought of the later test and felt a little more at ease. She let that pig demon be complacent for a while, and she would cry at that time. On the other side, He Xinjiu and the others returned to the Saint Child's mansion. But face naturally flattered He Xinjiu again. Everyone was already numb and pretended not to hear it. He Xinjiu said with a smile, "Little shadow, I realize that you're more and more concerned about me now. Do you feel that it's good to be by my side now? Do you feel that it's an honor to follow me for 3 lifetimes? Qi Ying, he really has a bad mouth. He shouldn't have talked to her when he had nothing to do. Why did he remind her?" Although He Xinjiu said so, she didn't slack off. She brought Butt-Face into the library once again. It was always good to be prepared. Chu Mo stayed with He Xinjiu in the library for a while. When she saw that it was getting late, she left the library. She sighed in her heart. Those people might have thought that little Jiu was lucky, but they did not know that she had put in a lot of effort behind the scenes. Chu Mo thought as she walked towards her own courtyard. As an honored guest of the Holy Sun, Chu Mo and the others all had their own courtyard, and they also had palace maids to serve them. Before Chu Mo reached her own courtyard, she saw Aog and Qi Ying at the entrance of her courtyard, seemingly arguing about something. Chu Mo frowned slightly and took 2 steps forward. Seeing her coming over, Aog and Qi Ying did not say anything. However, it could be seen from their expressions that the two of them were not happy. "What's wrong with you?" Chu Mo asked in confusion. Aog snorted coldly. "I came to discuss something with you, but he pretended to be ignorant and warned me to stay away from you. Do you think he's sick?" Qi Ying also snorted coldly. "You know very well whether some people have bad intentions or not. I just don't like it. Bah. Someone, don't forget the disgusting things you've done in the past. Stop pretending to be a good person in front of me. I think you're the one with ulterior motives," Aog said, unwilling to be outdone. Chu Mo was completely confused. She glanced at the two of them. "Are you two sick? Aren't you afraid of being laughed at?" "Aog, why are you looking for me?" Aog glanced at Qi Ying and said, "Let's go in and talk. We don't want some people to cause trouble." Chu Mo shook her head speechlessly. She opened the courtyard door and walked in first. Aog looked at Qi Ying proudly before following him in. Qi Ying clenched his fist, then lowered his head dejectedly and sighed before leaving. Chapter 46:12 Thanked the person who gave the question after entering the room. The palace maid served tea and left respectfully. Chu Mo looked at Aog in confusion. "Why are you looking for me?" Aog took out a handkerchief and threw it on the coffee table. "When I was beaten up by little Joe, didn't you give me a handkerchief to wipe my blood? I wanted to wash it and return it to you, but I couldn't wash it properly, so this handkerchief can be considered as returning it to you. Chu Mo picked up the handkerchief on the coffee table and couldn't help but be stunned. This wasn't a handkerchief used to wipe one's hands, but a low-grade immortal artifact. Although it wasn't useful in the demon realm and the ghost realm, but in other continents, it was definitely a treasure that everyone fought over. I can't take it. It's too valuable. Moreover, it's not useful in the ghost realm. Chu Mo put the handkerchief back on the coffee table. Aog said impatiently, keep it if you want it. What are you waiting for? Aog didn't care about Chu Mo's reaction. He just left and slammed the door. Chu Mo was dumbfounded. Did Aog take the wrong medicine? Chu Mo shook her head and put away the handkerchief. She was going to find an opportunity to return it to Aog. The next morning, He Xinzhou, Di Baiming, and the others went to the consort selection convention again. After the selection the day before, there were only 10 people left on the high platform. After Elder Shao gave some pleasantries, he announced the content of the 4th round of the test, selection of medicinal herbs. Each contestant had a basket in front of them. The contestants had to choose the 10 designated medicinal herbs. The 3 who took the fastest time advanced, and the other 7 were eliminated. After Elder Shao finished explaining the rules, he glanced at Hei Xinzhou, thinking that this Zhu Xiaojiu was destined to be eliminated. Everyone in the immortal ginseng tribe had the talent to distinguish herbs, but there were differences in strength. It was not something that this Zhu Xiaojiu could compare to. Just as Elder Shao was thinking about it, Hei Xinzhou raised her claws. Zhu Xiaojiu, what do you have to say? Elder Shao sneered in his heart. Could it be that this Zhu Xiaojiu was going to forfeit? Elder Shao. He snorted coldly and thought to himself, this pig demon is just a stubborn duck. She will cry in a while. However, after the competition began, when the others had only picked out 3 or 4 herbs, Hei Xinzhou had already picked out 10 herbs, and all of them were correct. Elder Shao looked at Hei Xinzhou, who was triumphant, and he could not describe the feeling in his heart. This consort selection was originally designed to eliminate this Zhu Xiaojiu. Who would have thought that she would get first place in every round of the competition? This made her famous, and she gradually won the public's recognition. However, she could not win this last round no matter what. Thinking of the contents of the last round of the test, Elder Shao felt a little guilty. After these rounds of tests, his impression of Hei Xinzhou had changed, but now he could only bite the bullet and proceed according to the plan. Although Xing Rushuang won second place, she looked very upset when she saw that Hei Xinzhou had won the first place. Mu Wu, who had obtained third place, glanced at Xing Rushuang and Hei Xinzhou without batting an eyelid. She thought to herself that even though the two of them had their own advantages, it was not impossible for her to get the upper hand in the competition. The audience below the stage craned their necks to watch. They knew that the most critical moment was coming. The final Saint Consort would be chosen in the 5th round of the test. Chapter 46:13, the final round of the test. Elder Shao coughed dryly and said, the 5th round of the test is a talent test. The Saint Child Consort has to bear children for the Saint Child, so her talent is extremely important. Therefore, whoever has the best talent in this round will be the champion of the consort selection convention. Someone, bring up our immortal ginseng tribe's spirit testing ball. When the crowd heard this, they immediately started discussing, this is clearly not allowing that pig demon to become the Saint Child Consort. Our immortal ginseng tribe's spirit testing ball can only sense the immortal ginseng tribe's demonic talent. This pig demon can't even reach the lowest grade of red. Yeah, this is deliberately targeting that pig demon. To be honest, I feel that it's a little unfair. That pig demon finally made it to the last round, but he encountered such a test content. Isn't this bullying? There's no other way. I reckon that the Elder Council wants Xing Rushuang to become the Saint Consort. I heard that when Xing Rushuang was testing, the spirit testing ball was blue. Red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple. This blue is an excellent talent. The crowd below the stage discussed animatedly. AOG and the others in the VIP seats were both worried and angry. This was really going too far. As for marrying Xingru, that was a dream. Only Buttface was as calm as ever. What bullshit spirit testing ball. It was nothing to the little fairy. How could he know that He Xinjiu, whom he blindly worshipped, was about to be angered at this moment? Too despicable. Too shameless. Too shameless. He actually thought of such a test content. It was obvious that he was bullying her because she was not from the immortal ginseng tribe. This fellow had already thought it through. When the test was over, she would make a big fuss. Xingru, that little bitch, wanted to marry a gigolo? Not to mention the door, there was no window. Xingru revealed a faint smug look. Neither that pig demon nor that Mu Wu could be as talented as her. She was definitely going to be the saint consort. The test was conducted in reverse order. Therefore, Mu Wu, who was ranked third, was the first to start the test. She put her hand on the spirit testing ball and slowly injected her demonic power into it. Soon, the spirit testing ball turned green. Although her talent was quite good, Mu Wu was not happy. Although green talent was good, it was not as good as Xingru blue color. After Mu Wu's test, it was Xingru turn. Xingru placed her hand on the spirit testing ball, and the spirit testing ball quickly turned blue. Although the people below knew that Xingru talent was blue, they still cried out in surprise. After all, blue talent was too rare. After Xingru test, it was He Xinjiu's turn. He Xinjiu slowly walked to the spirit testing ball. This fellow cursed in her heart. She couldn't use her spiritual power here. Otherwise, she could just use a few purple lightning bolts. She might be able to fool it. After all, purple was the most talented. However, she could only use her demonic power here. She wasn't from the celestial ginseng tribe. She probably couldn't even make a red color. She was really holding her breath. Damn it. After the competition ended, she would definitely scold the shameless elder council. Seeing that He Xinjiu did not put her hand on the spirit testing ball, Elder Xiao felt a little guilty. He coughed uncomfortably and said, Zhu Xiaojiu, quickly put your hand on it and inject your demonic power. Chapter 46-14 Spirit Testing Ball. He Xinjiu thought that since there was nothing else she could do, she would just test it. At most, she wouldn't light it up. Thus, this fellow placed his hand on the spirit testing ball and slowly injected demonic power into it. As expected, the spirit testing ball didn't change in color at all. Xingru eyes revealed a smug look. This saint child consort was hers. Some of the people below the stage were excited, while others shook their heads and sighed. The situation was set. Xingru was now the saint consort. At this moment, the spirit testing ball suddenly turned red. Although the crowd was a little surprised, this pig demon was not from the immortal ginseng tribe. How could it make the spirit testing ball react? However, this was not important. Not to mention red, even cyan could not compare to Xingru blue talent. Unexpectedly, the spirit testing ball's color changed again, from red to orange. Then, orange became yellow. Well, yellow wasn't a big deal. It couldn't compare to blue anyway. When the spirit testing ball's color changed to blue, everyone lost their composure. Oh my, no way. This pig demon's talent was blue as well? Wasn't it the same as Xingru? Xingru's face was extremely unsightly. Never in her dreams did she expect He Xinjiu's talent to be blue as well. How was this possible? At this moment, everyone exclaimed. Purple. Purple. That pig demon's talent is actually purple. The legendary highest talent level. Oh my god. No wonder our holy son insisted on marrying this pig demon. It turns out that the holy son has sharp eyes. He already knew that Zhu Xiaojia's talent is so amazing. Oh my god, we really can't judge a book by its cover. I didn't expect this pig demon to have such a heaven-defying talent. While the crowd was discussing, the purple color of the spirit testing ball became denser and denser, and the entire spirit testing ball exploded into powder. He Xinjiu was shocked. Fortunately, she had set up a protective barrier in time, or else she would have been injured. This fellow wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and said to the dumbfounded Elder Shao, "Can't you guys prepare a high-quality spirit testing ball? If you destroy my beauty, can you afford to compensate me? Elder Shao, with your looks, wouldn't it be better if you were disfigured?" However, he had never heard of anyone blowing up the spirit testing ball during the talent test. Was Zhu Xiaojia's talent so heaven-defying? Suddenly, Xing Rushuang said with a ferocious expression, "Elder Shao, this Zhu Xiaojiu must have used some evil method. Otherwise, the spirit testing ball wouldn't have exploded, so her test results should be invalid." This, Elder Shao was in a dilemma. Although Xing Rushuang's words were somewhat arbitrary, Zhu Xiaojia's talent test was indeed abnormal. He Xinjiu sneered, "It's clearly just that the spirit testing ball just now was not strong enough. If you get another one, I'll test it again. True gold is not afraid of fire refinement. Why would I be afraid of a small talent test?" Elder Shao immediately ordered someone to bring another spirit testing ball over. He Xinjiu placed her hand on it. This fellow used his spiritual sense to curse, "Little Zhong Zhong Zhong, are you stupid? I asked you to help me cheat, not to get me into trouble. This time, you better take it easy and get a purple one." It turned out that when He Xinjiu was about to give up, Demon Sky Bell volunteered. Although it did not have much demonic power now, it was still okay to cheat on the spirit testing ball. However, it did not expect to blow up the spirit testing ball all of a sudden. Chapter 46:15, Xing Rushuang, who was seeking death this time. The demon sky bell restrained its demonic power and stopped injecting demonic power into the spirit testing ball after it turned purple. He Xinjiu withdrew her hand and said to Elder Shao, "Elder Shao, is it enough this time? The result has been decided. Shouldn't you announce the result now?" Looking at the rich purple color on the spirit testing ball, Elder Shao's resistance toward He Xinjiu had mostly disappeared. Apart from her appearance, race, this Zhu Xiaojiu was indeed worthy of the Holy Sun. Xing Rushuang stared at the purple color on the spirit testing ball, and her face was full of jealousy and hatred. She shouted, "Impossible! Impossible! This pig demon can't be a purple talent. She must have cheated." Elder Shao shook his head slightly. He originally thought that this girl Rushuang was pretty good, but now he felt that she was too petty. The truth was right in front of him, but she still refused to admit it. She really couldn't afford to lose. The audience below the stage also pointed at Xing Rushuang. She was willing to accept her loss. Zhu Xiaojiu was the first place in every round, so what was there for her to be unconvinced about? Was she superior to others just because she was Elder Xing's granddaughter? Elder Shao ignored the ferocious-looking Xing Rushuang and said loudly, "The champion of this consort selection competition is Zhu Xiaojiu. She will also become the future Saint Child consort." Although the applause was not very enthusiastic, there was no heckling or opposition. Although they were still somewhat against He Xinjiu, it was much better than before. Anyway, the saint's son liked her, so it was good for Zhu Xiaojiu. He Xinjiu was very happy in her heart. Although the marriage was to get the jade token, it had to be the wedding night, right? Although they couldn't really have sex, it was still good to take advantage of a gigolo. He Xinjiu was happy, and Xing Rushuang was almost angered to death. After returning to the manor, she looked for Elder Xing and said, "Grandfather, even if I have to be a side concubine, I still want to marry the Holy Sun. Please help me." Elder Xing looked at his crying granddaughter, whose eyes were red and swollen, and felt his heart ache. Thus, he thickened his old face and came to see debeiming. The result was obvious. He was almost spat out blood by debeiming, so he could only return to the manor in embarrassment. Rushuang, the Holy Sun, is determined. Just give up. Elder Xing said with a sigh. How could Xing Rushuang be willing? He had bribed a palace maid to poison He Xinjiu to death. He Xinjiu, that pervert, was naturally fine. However, she had accidentally poisoned Chu Mo. With He Xinjiu by her side, Chu Mo was safe in the end, so it was not a big deal. Elder Xing knew that his granddaughter had caused a big trouble. Murdering the future Holy Sun consort was the death penalty for wiping out the entire family. He immediately came crying and begging for forgiveness. The other 4 elders also interceded on his behalf. In the end, Elder Xing removed Xing Rushuang from the Xing family and never allowed her to enter the imperial city for the rest of her life. He then took out a number of precious treasures to quell the storm. Although Xing Rushuang was not executed, to her, who had always been proud and arrogant, such a punishment made her wish she was dead. He Xinjiu did not care whether she was dead or alive, because this guy had found something interesting. When Chu Mo was in trouble, both Qi Ying and Aog were even more anxious than her. They were all running around anxiously. If they said that there was no adultery or love, no one would believe it. He Xinjiu was curious. It was understandable that Qi Ying might have liked Chu Mo before. After all, they had been together for a long time. When did Aog take a liking to Chu Mo? Chapter 46:16. You all like Chu Mo? He Xinjia's heart was like a cat's paw. She first looked for Qi Ying. Little Ying, are you interested in Sister Mo? He Xinjiu asked sneakily. Qi Ying's face stiffened. Don't talk nonsense. It's nothing. Yun Chujiu nodded. Since you don't mean it, then it's easy. Aog just told me that he wants to marry Sister Mo, then he will hold the wedding with me in a few days. Qi Ying immediately stood up. What? No, I don't agree. Yun Chujiu was amused. You are so interesting. You don't belong to Sister Mo, and you don't like Sister Mo. What does it have to do with you if she gets married? What does it matter if you agree or not? Qi Ying choked. Aog is not a good match. Anyway, I don't agree. Aog, who had been specially called over by He Xinjiu, was immediately enraged when he heard that. Qi Ying, stop spouting nonsense here. How am I not a good match? You are not a fucking good match. Qi Ying snorted coldly. You are the crown prince of the Yen clan and cannot stay in the ghost realm for long, while Chu Mo can only live in the ghost realm. How are you two together? Also, you are the crown prince of the Yen clan and will be Emperor Yen in the future. Will your subjects agree to you marrying a ghost clan as your queen? Moreover, you will take in many concubines. Chu Mo's character does not like to compete with others, so she will definitely not be happy in the future. Aog was obviously hit by a sore spot. As for taking in concubines, it was easy to talk about it. Anyway, he did not want to marry any concubines. However, Chu Mo was a ghost clan, so this was really a bit difficult to deal with. The two of them could not be separated forever, right? He said unhappily, anyway, there will be a way. On the other hand, you were the one who wanted to kill Chu Mo back then, and you still have the nerve to stand here and blabber? Bah. Qi Ying gnashed his teeth and said, what do you know? At that time, my plan was to kill the others first, and at the end, would take Chu Mo out of the 10,000 ghost lair. After all, I have 5 soul-gathering beads in my hands. No matter what, I can let her condense a physical body. Yun Chujiu had an epiphany. As she had said, Qi Ying had feelings for Chu Mo, so why did he want to kill all the evil spirits in the first place? It turned out that he had been prepared. It seemed that he had decided to follow her in the end. Although there was a factor of being a spy, it was probably because of Chu Mo. While Yun Shujo was deep in thought, Aog and Qi Ying had already started fighting. He Xinzhou did not try to persuade them and let them do whatever they wanted. When both of them were injured, she asked, Aog, didn't you not marry me before? Why are you targeting Chu Mo now? Are all men so fickle? Aoj's face stiffened and he mumbled, I was too young and didn't know how to feel. Aog actually wanted to say that he was blind before, but he was afraid that He Xinzhou would teach him a lesson, so he made up an excuse. He Xinzhou was very smart. She sneered and said, oh, I see. Then tell me, how did you fall in love with Sister Mo? Aog stuttered and gave a rough description. He had always been cautious and arrogant. Even though he had been dealt a heavy blow by Di Biming, he could still hold on. However, he had never thought that he would turn into a puppet of the demon race. Just when he had nothing to live for, he realized that the puppet of the host's little lover was actually Chu Mo. He was ecstatic. As his host and Chu Mo's host often met in secret, he and Chu Mo were responsible for keeping watch, so they had a chance to communicate. Chapter 46 17 Heaven and Earth Worship. At that time, Aog was very depressed. He simply felt that he had nothing left to live for. Although Chu Mo had only condensed her right hand at that time, she still spent a lot of effort to write on the ground to enlighten him. At that moment, Aog felt something different in his heart. He had never been a person who paid attention to looks. Moreover, Chu Mo had only gained a little weight. Her facial features were still very good-looking. The good impression in his heart continued to accumulate. Of course, the display of affection between He Xinzhou and a certain respected figure had also stimulated him. He felt that he did not want to live a single life anymore. After He Xinzhou heard Aog and Qi Ying's words, she touched her chin and said, I think that both of you are unrequited lovers. Sister Mo probably doesn't like anyone else. Therefore, both of you should stop fighting. If you have this kind of kung fu, you might as well perform well in front of Sister Mo. Aog and Qi Ying were suddenly enlightened. The crux of the problem lay with Chu Mo. What were they fighting for? So, Aog sent a bowl of soup and Qi Ying sent a plate of pastries. Aog told a joke to Chu Mo and Qi Ying sent a few books to Chu Mo. Chu Mo was a little confused at first, but then she understood. She couldn't help but laugh. She had been single for God knows how many years, but now she was starting to get lucky with men. However, she was only friends with Aog and Qi Ying, and there was no romantic relationship between them, so she tactfully rejected the two. Qi Ying saw that Chu Mo had explicitly rejected him, and although he was sad, he still stopped his act of flattery, in case Chu Mo was disgusted. Aog did not care about this and continued to flattery. What was wrong with friendship? Who said that friendship could not be sublimated? Although Chu Mo was speechless at his actions, she had no choice but to let him be. Soon, it was He Xinzhou and Di Biming's wedding day. The marriage of the saint child was naturally very grand. The various ceremonies were very complicated, making He Xinzhou very impatient. However, when this guy thought of the wedding night, he immediately felt that everything was worth it. When the two of them arrived at the wedding hall, Elder Shao, who was the host of the wedding, said loudly, Thank God for matchmaking and earth for matchmaking. Saint Son and Saint Consort, please bow to heaven and earth. Yun Shujo and Di Biming were about to kneel down and bow when Elder Shao's expression suddenly changed. Saint Son, something has happened to the ancestral demon cave. We have to rush out immediately. Elder Si and the other three also looked panicked. The ancestral demon cave was of great importance. Nothing must happen to it. He Xinzhou was furious. If nothing had happened earlier, nothing would have happened later. However, something had happened at this moment. If she knew who was behind this, she would definitely torture him to death. Anger was anger. The purpose of their marriage was the ancestral monster cave. Naturally, they could not delay it. Di Baiming and He Xinjiu immediately followed the 5 elders to the ancestral monster cave. Of course, the 5 elders originally did not allow He Xinjiu to follow them. However, this fellow insisted on following them. In addition to the urgency of the situation, Elder Shao and the others had no choice but to let her follow them. When Di Baiming and the others arrived at the ancestral demon cave, the guards were kneeling on the ground in fear. Not far away from them was a dark cave entrance. The enchantment at the entrance was full of cracks, as if it would break at any moment. Elder Shao cried out in surprise, "What? What's going on? I didn't dare to delay and immediately sent you the message." However, the crack didn't spread after that. Chapter 46:18. A bunch of little brats. When He Xinjiu heard the guard's words, she cursed in her heart. Fuck, could this damn enchantment be deliberately causing trouble? Otherwise, why would cracks appear on this damn enchantment just as she was about to bow to heaven and earth? He Xinjiu was cursing in her heart. No one had expected that this fellow would be sucked in at this moment. Everyone was stunned. Such a strange thing had never happened in the ancestral demon cave. How did the Saint Concubine get sucked in? Di Baiming's expression changed. Open the enchantment. I'll go in and take a look. Elder Shao and the others wanted to dissuade him, but when they saw Di Baiming's stern expression, they did not dare to say anything more. They immediately took out their jade tokens and opened the enchantment. Di Baiming immediately walked in, leaving Elder Shao and the others to look at each other. After a while, Elder Shen said with some apprehension, "Well, the Saint Child and the Saint Child consort haven't entered the hall yet. This wedding shouldn't count, right? Now that we've let the Saint Child enter, have we gone against our ancestral teachings?" The other 4 glared at him. "If you don't speak, will people think you're mute? Did they not know this? But from the looks of the Holy Sun, if they didn't let him in, they might be killed, so they could only let him in." Other than the previous Holy Sons, no one had ever entered the demon ancestor cave, so they didn't know what was inside. The previous Holy Sons had always kept their mouths shut after coming out of the cave, which made the demon ancestor cave even more mysterious. When Di Baiming went in, he saw He Xinjiu sitting on the ground and whining. This guy was sure that Di Baiming would come in, so he didn't go in. He just sat on the ground and waited for Di Baiming. "Prince Charming, do you think this damn enchantment is on purpose? It doesn't want us to worship heaven and earth," He Xinjiu said angrily. Di Baiming found her funny. "It's probably just a coincidence. If you're not happy, we can continue the wedding after we find the big brick." He Xinjiu blinked her eyes. "Forget it. What's the use of getting married? I can only watch but not eat. It's all because of Go Wei Ba. If it hadn't caused trouble, we would have had a litter of cubs long ago." Di Baiming, a litter? Cubs? Are you sure you're talking about a child and not a piglet? He Xinjiu was even angrier when she thought of Guai Chao. That damn Go Wei Ba. It's one thing for it to obstruct us in other continents, but it actually followed us to the demon realm. It's really infuriating. It must have been a single grass in its previous life. That's why it can't stand to see us well. Damn dog tail. The Guai Chao in He Xinjius Dantian was drooping its leaves without any reaction. What was wrong with a single grass? Wasn't this hurting its self-esteem? It also had to maintain its face, all right? Di Baiming sighed and pulled He Xinjiu up from the ground. There will always be a way to solve it. We've encountered so many difficulties and obstacles, but didn't we come all the way here? Release the drifters that you have tamed from the myriad ghosts' cave and let them lead us to the big brick. After He Xinjiu condensed into a physical body, she realized that the few drifters had followed her to the demon territory. However, she could not summon them even after calling them a few times. She did not expect that before she could summon them, the few drifters had already dispersed and floated forward. Hei Shinjo curled her lips. These damn drifters were all the same. They were full of evil intentions. They pretended to be dead before, but now they knew to come out and play. Shameless. Chapter 46:19, The Word Blood. Although Hei Shinjo was cursing in her heart, she still followed closely behind Di Baiming. Prince Charming, this cave is no different from an ordinary cave. What secret could there be here? Hei Shinjo asked in confusion. Di Baiming shook his head. No one knows what secret is hidden here. It's just that it's said to be related to a big secret of the demon ancestor. This is definitely not an ordinary cave. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been sucked in. It's better for us to be careful. Di Baiming and Yunchujo walked for an hour before a stone door appeared in front of them. There were 6 words written on the stone door that were as red as blood: retreat and live, advance and die. Hei Shinjo looked at the 6 words and touched her chin. Well, Prince Charming, why do I feel that these 6 words look like my handwriting? Di Baiming looked at the 6 crooked words and the corner of his eyes twitched. He said, it should be written by you. But why did you come to the demon ancestor's cave to write? Hei Shinjo blinked. Maybe because my handwriting is good, the demon ancestor begged me to write it. Di Baiming, can you still be shameless? However, he thought of a possibility. Could it be that little Jiao was also the demon ancestor? Was this possible? While he was deep in thought, Hei Shinjo said, Prince Charming, those few drifters are circling around the stone door. Apparently, the big brick is inside. Who cares if he is dead or alive? We have to go in. Di Baiming nodded. Little Jiao, go back and set up the protective shield. I will push open the stone door. Hei Shinjo did not argue. After all, Di Baiming's demonic power was much stronger than hers. Di Baiming frowned and increased his demonic power again, but he still could not move the stone door at all. He tried several times but failed, so he had to stop. Hei Shinjo jumped over and said, why don't we try it together? Di Baiming had no other choice but to nod and agree. However, the 2 of them still couldn't push the stone door open. Hei Shinjo frowned and stared at the stone door. Why couldn't she push it open? After spending a long time, she couldn't be stumped by a door in the end, right? Could there be a trap? Hei Shinjo walked around the stone door for a long time and didn't find anything wrong. Suddenly, she stopped and stared at the 6 words in disbelief. Little Jiao, what's wrong? These 6 words were really written in blood. Yunchujo muttered. Di Baiming carefully looked at the 6 words. He didn't pay too much attention to it before and thought it was a cinnabar-like pigment. Now that he looked carefully, it was really written in blood. Di Baiming's heart ached. If this word was really written by little Jiao in his previous life, then what did she experience back then? She had to use blood to write these 6 words. Yunchujia's heart also felt a little sour. Although she couldn't remember anything now, she cherished her life so much and was so afraid of pain. She wouldn't let herself bleed so much unless she had no other choice. After a moment of silence, Yunchujo bit her index finger and dripped her blood on the stone door. With a creak, the stone door began to move slowly. Yunchujo held Di Baiming's hand nervously. She guessed that her blood was the key to open the stone door. Then what was hidden behind the stone door? Chapter 46:19, The Brick Breaks Free. Di Baiming used a little more force, hoping that it would calm Yunchujia's emotions. For some reason, some random images flashed through his mind. His eyes were bloodshot and there was a sorrowful back. Although it was just a back view, Di Baiming knew that it was the little 9 from his previous life. His heart ached. What happened in his previous life? Where was he then? While Di Biming was still immersed in his thoughts, the stone door opened. As soon as the two of them walked in, the stone door closed again. What they saw made the two of them a little stunned. There was no bloody storm or any miserable scene that they had imagined. There were only a lot of spirit souls inside. To be exact, they were the primordial spirits of the monster race. However, these primordial spirits of the monster race were all beast bodies and they were quite weak. Could it be that the spirit souls summoned by the ghost race were the primordial spirits of the monster race? Just as Yun Shujiu and Di Biming were puzzled, the red mist that He Xinjiu had tamed from the cave of 10,000 ghosts quickly floated forward. The spirit souls were floating in the air, ignoring Di Biming and Yun Shujiu. The more they walked in, the fewer spirit souls there were. In the end, there was only an empty tunnel. Yun Shujiu was not as jumpy as she usually was. She did not say a word. Ever since she entered the tunnel, her heart was filled with sadness and anger. Di Biming did not say anything. He just held Yun Shujiu's hand tightly. Suddenly, Yun Shujiu exclaimed because she saw an endless black hole at the end of the tunnel. The brick was struggling with all its might, as if it was going to be sucked into the black hole at any moment. The red mist that Yun Shujiu brought had already merged with the brick. The brick seemed to have gained some strength and struggled for a distance, but it was still unable to escape from the huge suction force from the black hole. Yun Shujiu was about to go forward when Di Biming said, "I'll do it." Yun Shujiu did not know that Di Biming was panicking for no reason. He subconsciously did not want Yun Shujiu to get close to the black hole. Di Biming took a few steps closer to the brick, but he realized that he did not know how to help the brick get out of the hole. Although the brick looked like a brick, it did not have a solid body. Even if he wanted to pull it out, he did not have any strength. He did not know if it was an illusion, but Di Biming felt the disdain from the brick. Yun Shujiu saw Di Biming's helplessness and quickly walked over. However, she did not know how to help the brick. She did not expect that the brick would jump into her forehead the moment she got close. It was as if Yun Shujiu's spiritual sense was stronger than the suction force of a black hole. "Little Jiu, since you have saved the brick, we should not stay here for long. Let's leave this place quickly," Di Biming said anxiously as he protected Yun Shujiu. Although Yun Shujiu did not feel as uneasy as Di Biming, she still nodded and the two of them turned around to walk back. Di Biming's heart finally calmed down a little when they arrived at the place where there were spirits. Yun Shujiu's mood was a little better now, so she had the time to think about other things. She looked at the spirits that were drifting by themselves and said, "Prince Charming, I think these are the spirits summoned by the ghost clan. Look at that bear. It's almost the same as the soul bear of the short and fat man." Di Biming nodded. He was really puzzled. How did these spirits of the monster clan enter the cave? And why did they become the spirits of the ghost clan? Chapter 46-21. Zhongli leaves the demon area. Although Di Biming and Yun Shujiu had many doubts in their hearts, they didn't stay for long and walked out. Before they left, Yun Shujiu looked at the 6 blood characters on the stone door. She touched them one by one and said slowly and firmly, "A blood debt must be paid in blood. One day, I will find out the truth." Di Biming stood at the side with a cold expression. According to Qi Ying, the death of the ghost ancestor was related to the Divine Devil Hall. Therefore, these words were most likely related to the Divine Devil Hall. Who was the mastermind behind the Divine Devil Hall? Yun Shujiu and Di Biming went outside with a heavy heart. Elder Xiao and the others were naturally very happy to see them return safely. Although they were extremely curious about the situation in the cave, they did not dare to ask any more questions. Especially when they saw that Di Biming and Yun Shujiu's expressions were very cold, they did not dare to ask any more questions. What was surprising was that after Di Biming and Yun Shujiu came out, the enchantment had recovered to its original state. The cracks on it no longer existed. She thought about it again and felt that the cracks in the barrier were most likely related to the big brick. However, when she thought about the situation the big brick was in, the resentment in her heart dissipated. When everyone returned to the saint's mansion, the sky was almost bright. As the auspicious time had passed, the wedding could only be rescheduled for another day. Hei Shinjo thought that since it wasn't a real wedding, it didn't matter whether it was held or not, so she didn't say anything. Besides, she realized that she was now a pig demon. If she accepted the marriage ceremony, wouldn't the gigolo laugh at her for the rest of her life? Therefore, she had to thank Big Brick for causing trouble. Hei Shinjo gathered Aog and the others to discuss ways to leave the demon realm. They had come here to save Buttface and Big Brick. Now that they had all been saved, they naturally had to think of a way to leave. However, no one knew how to leave the demon realm. Buttface blinked his dog eyes and said, "Little fairy, go back the way you came." "How did you come here?" Hei Shinjo was stunned. How did they come here? Back then, she had used the nameless sword's sex beads to hook up with the black bead. Then, a white light flashed in front of her eyes. When she woke up, she had become Yang Chunbake's puppet. Could it be that she still had to look for the black pearl this time? Thus, Hei Shinjo humbly hooked up with the black pearl and promised to help it look for the other pearls, Yun, when they returned to Towering Sky Continent, so that they could bring them back to the ghost realm. Needless to say, the black pearl had given them a lot of face this time. Almost as soon as Yunchujo finished speaking, a white light flashed in front of everyone's eyes and they disappeared from where they were. When Yunchujo and the others regained their sight, they found that they were still standing outside the 10,000 ghost lair, as if nothing had happened. However, everyone felt as if a lifetime had passed. After being stunned for a moment, Yunchujo said, "Let's go back to the Imperial Palace." This fellow did not forget that she and the pretty boy came to the ghost region to search for the blazing red glazed tile. It would be terrible if they returned empty-handed after going through a big round. On the way, everyone had a realization that stunned them. Although they had stayed in the demon realm for 5 months, only 5 days had passed in the ghost realm. Could it be that everything that happened before was an illusion? Or was the flow of time in the demon realm different from that in the ghost realm? 1 month in the demon realm was only 1 day in the ghost realm? Chapter 46-22 was filled with countless mysteries. Yunchujo was surprised that the black beads could bring them into the demon region. She thought of the beads that were swallowed by the black beads. It was said that once those beads appeared in the world, they would bring disaster. What was the origin of the black beads that could swallow those beads? Also, why did the word blood appear in the demon region? The more Yunchujo thought about it, the more she felt a headache. These were like layers of fog. After clearing one layer, she discovered that there were even more mysteries. There were some things, such as the death of the ghost ancestor, the entanglement between the ghost ancestor and the Lord. Yunchujo had asked Qi-Ying a few times, but Qi-Ying had stuttered. One moment, he said that he could not speak, and the next moment, he said that he had heard it from someone else. He did not know anything. Yunchujo knew that it was useless to interrogate him, so she could only put all her questions aside for the time being. When everyone arrived at the Imperial Palace, Princess Mei Yan, Short Fatty, and the others were pleasantly surprised. When Yunchujo brought up the matter of the fiery red glass, Princess Mei Yan naturally would not refuse. She immediately handed over a large piece of fiery red glass that she had snatched from the previous emperor to Yunchujo. Just in case, Yunchujo split the fiery red glass into 3 pieces and left 1 piece for Princess Mei Yan. She kept 1 piece for herself and gave the other piece to Di Biming. This way, even if Di Biming had any mishaps with the fiery red glass, he could still make up for it. After everyone had a simple chat, the short fatty pulled Hei Shinjo to the side and thanked Yunchujo proudly for her advice. After Yunchujo left, the short fatty finally noticed Princess Mei Yan's intentions. At first, he rejected her because he felt that he was not good enough for her. Besides, if he married Princess Mei Yan, would Sha Wuhan call him big brother or uncle? Wouldn't it be a mess? However, this guy still submitted in the end. The little resistance he had before was only because of his face. In fact, this guy was already blooming with happiness. After being single for such a long time, he finally married a princess. It was simply wonderful. However, because Yun Chujia's life and death were unknown, the two of them never got married. Yun Chujio originally wanted to leave the next day. The short and fat man and the others tried their best to persuade her to stay. No matter what, they wanted her to attend the short and fat man's wedding before leaving. But Faye said from the side, "Little fairy, isn't this a good thing? Your previous wedding was ruined, and now that you have recovered your appearance, why don't you have another wedding with your excellency?" Hei Shinjo thought about it and agreed with Buttface's suggestion. The next day, the royal palace was decorated with lanterns and streamers. After a series of complicated procedures, it was finally time to pay respects to heaven and earth. "Thank you, heaven, for matchmaking, and earth for matchmaking. Two couples, please pay respects to heaven and earth." The officiator said loudly just when Hei Shinjo and Di Biming were about to kneel down and pay their respects. A big brick suddenly jumped out from between Hei Xinjia's eyebrows and flew out anxiously. It even conveyed Hei Xinjia's extremely anxious emotions. Hei Shinjo was so angry that she was speechless. However, seeing that the big brick was so anxious, she could not ignore it. Perhaps something had really happened. She could only let the short fatty and Princess Mei Yen continue their wedding while she and Di Biming chased after Big Brick. A few days later, Yun Chujio was surprised to find that Big Brick's destination was the entrance to the ghost realm. Could it be that something had happened to their bodies in the secret chamber? Now that the problem had come, she and Di Biming naturally had to return to Towering Sky Continent. However, what about AOG and the other two? Chapter 46-23, Qi Ying's decision. Yun Chujio directly told them her next plan and asked the three of them about their next plan. Chu Mo said with some reluctance, "Little Jiu, I will turn into a phantom once I leave the ghost territory, so I can only stay in the ghost territory." "Take care." Yun Chujio nodded. Although there were many ancient cultivator corpses in her storage ring, because of the restriction, it was impossible for Chu Mo to possess them. Otherwise, she could have left with her. She could give it a try if she had the chance in the future. Hei Shinjo curled her lips. It sounded nice. Didn't he just want to stay and accompany Chu Mo? However, the gigolo had said that the Yen clan could not stay in the ghost realm for a long time. Moreover, Chu Mo might not accept him. Chu Mo and AOG expressed their positions one after another, but Qi Ying's face was full of hesitation. Although Chu Mo had already rejected him, he was still somewhat unwilling. However, when he thought of the great undertaking of his master and recalled his original intention, he gritted his teeth. "I will follow you back to the Towering Sky Continent." Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. It seemed that in Qi Ying's heart, the great undertaking of that dog-shit master was more important. However, it was also true. If he really had a deep enough love for Chu Mo, he would not have insisted on destroying the 10,000 ghost cave in the end. He would have long taken Chu Mo to live with him. In this aspect, AOG was much stronger than him. Yun Chujio thought to herself. She felt that AOG and Chu Mo were quite a good match. Not to mention other things, their names matched each other perfectly. Cough, cough, loneliness. Yun Chujio glanced at Qi Ying. "If you don't have a body, you can only become a shadow if you follow me." "Are you sure?" "You just need to help me find a body. I have a way to possess it temporarily. I will return to my own body when I have the chance in the future," Qi Ying explained. Yun Chujio saw that he had already said so much, so she did not say anything more. After Yun Chujio bid farewell to AOG and Chu Mo, she entered the passage that was opened by the big brick. After entering the passage, Yun Chujio realized that she and Qi Ying had become a phantom while Di Biming was a physical body. Only then did she remember that Di Baiming was already a physical body when he appeared again. It was simply a miracle. How could he use his physical body to travel between the ghost realm and the demon realm? Moreover, how did his body get out of the secret chamber back then? Hei Shinjo had been driven crazy by all sorts of mysteries these days, so she decided not to think about it anymore. This fellow counted with his fingers. She had left the Nameless Sword sect for more than a year. She wondered if there were any changes to the Nameless Sword sect now. She, the last disciple of the sect master, had been missing for so many days. She wondered if the sect master Ouyang had sent anyone to look for her. Also, Chu Feng and Little Moon did not know how their progress was without her, the matchmaker. This was still the matter at hand. If it was something far away, like Black Chicken Head and the Little Madman, who knew if they would be able to withstand it even if they did not have a pretty face? Also, what was her biological parents' situation like? Also, it had been a long time since she had seen her cheap grandfather. It wasn't that she didn't want to, but at the moment, not seeing him was the best way to protect him. Dog 2's eyes were filled with pride. The wheel of fortune has turned. It had suffered a lot from big bricks in the ghost realm. When it reached the towering sky continent, it would definitely vent its anger. However, when it thought that after Yun Chuzhou returned to her body, there would be more little blackbirds, Xiao Hong, Xiao Hanio, and Xiao Hei to compete with it, it felt a little worried. Chapter 46-24, The Troublemaker, but faced the big brick brought Hei Shinjo and the others to a secret room. When the drifters in the secret room saw the big brick, they gathered together happily and became part of the big brick. A strong suction force came from Yun Chuzhou and Butt-Face's bodies, and the two of them returned to their own bodies smoothly. As soon as Yun Chuzhou entered her body, Xiao Hanio cried out in her spiritual sense, "You left me here to fend for myself. Doesn't your conscience hurt?" Hei Shinjo touched her nose. Although she was forced to, she still felt a little guilty. Seeing that Yun Chuzhou did not say anything, Xiao Hanio cried even more miserably, "It's fine if you leave, but why didn't you leave more food for us? Look at how thin I am. That Xiao Hei, I feel that you're even fatter than before. Do you think it's really good for you to be so fat as a black phoenix?" When the little black bird heard this, it became even more unforgiving. It cried and cried, saying that Yun Chuzhou had no conscience, that she liked the new and hated the old, and that she was a heartless woman. Although Xiao Hong and the other silly foxes did not say anything, their emotions were all mixed with grief and indignation. Only the nightmare beast did not say anything. This fellow was very shrewd. This bunch of idiots still thought that the little devil was a good person. In a while, the little devil would become angry from embarrassment. "You guys will suffer." Sure enough, Hei Shinjo was still comforting them with some guilt at the beginning. Later, she was annoyed by the noise and scolded, "Xiao Hei, I've given you face, haven't I? I was kidnapped by the drifters, I didn't leave you here on purpose. If you continue to dawdle, well, eat roasted phoenix tonight." Xiao Hanio shrunk its neck and didn't say anything. When it saw Meng Yanchus' gloating eyes, it was so angry that it almost died. However, when it saw Butt-Face, who had just been stuffed in by Yun Chuzhou, it immediately shifted its anger to Butt-Face. Why did Butt-Face, who only knew how to flatter others, follow it even though it was an elder? Therefore, it shot a glance at Xiao Hong and the little red fox went up together and beat up Butt-Face. Butt-Face was beaten up until he cried and howled. Unfortunately, Hei Shinjo disliked them for being too annoying and cut off the spiritual connection with them. His howls were also useless. Butt-Face was really sad. If he had known this would happen, he would have stayed in the demon territory and become Jing Shundi's puppet. He missed the days of the little tyrant king. The little black bird rolled its eyes and decided to kill its fellow Taoist. It hummed and said, "Why are you hitting me? The little fairy's favorite is not me or you, but that new big brick." Xiao Hanio and the others were stunned. What the hell was a big brick? Aya, it's those drifters. They became the little fairy's spirit in the demon territory. I wonder what will happen when they go outside. Don't mention it. I was bullied by them in the ghost realm. It was worse than death. I think we should stand aside in the future. Big Brick is the little fairy's new favorite, but Face said sourly. He always felt that the relationship between those red drifters and Yunchujo was not ordinary. Moreover, he heard that those drifters followed the little fairy in their previous lives. How could they be compared to those who came later? Xiao Hanyo and the others saw that Butt Face had a nose and eyes, and they immediately became united in their hatred. How could a big brick, who could not speak, be above them? Dream on. The big brick did not know that it had become the public enemy of the dumb cuties. It was sneakily leading Hei Shinjo and Di Baiming out. Chapter 46-25, Fresh Red Shadow Rabbit. After entering the bottom of the sword pool, the big brick turned into countless drifters to protect Yunchujo and the other two. Of course, Yunchujo and Di Baiming were human, while Qiying only had a shadow, which looked similar to the drifters. Yunchujo, help me find a body, or else I won't be able to hold on for long, Qiying said anxiously. Yunchujo curled her lips. That's easy for you to say. It's so dark. Where can I find a body for you? Let's go back to my courtyard first. With the drifters' protection and Di Baiming's high-level spiritual power, they returned to Yunchujia's courtyard without anyone noticing. Because of the drifters' protection, Yunchujia's courtyard was no different from before. After Yunchujo used the cleaning spell a few times, the house was as clean as new. Hei Shinjo was about to wash up when Di Baiming frowned and walked out of the house. He looked up and saw that the sky full of stars had been covered by dark clouds. Could it be that there was a heavenly lightning that was about to strike little Joe? Hei Shinjo also came out, but her face was full of smiles. Prince Charming, you don't know that I had no choice but to pick mushrooms to absorb the power of lightning when I was in the lightning wilderness. The heavenly lightning came at just the right time. I guess Xiao Hei and Xiao Mogu also deserve the lightning strike. Qiying, who was shivering, immediately felt terrible. He was only in the primordial spirit state now. If there was one thing he was most afraid of, it would be the heavenly lightning. From the looks of it, the heavenly lightning was coming menacingly. He would definitely be struck until he turned into ashes. Yunchujo, this smelly girl, was actually so happy that she was jumping up and down. Was she crazy? Even if she had the heavenly lightning spirit root, she would not be able to withstand such a powerful heavenly lightning. She really overestimated herself. Yunchujo, quickly help me find a body. Otherwise, the heavenly lightning will strike me on its own accord. I will be struck by the heavenly lightning until my soul is scattered, Qiying said anxiously. Yunchujo said impatiently, where can I find a body for you? Forget it, it's too good for you. I will let you use the body that I prepared for curly hair. Qiying was delighted, but his smile withered before it could bloom. Damn it, what was the meaning of this stinky girl giving him a rabbit? Could it be that she wanted him to possess a rabbit? What kind of joke was this? Yunchujo, what do you mean? Qiying asked angrily. You don't want it? If you don't want it, then forget it. Curly hair is eager to have it. Just wait to be struck. Yunchujo said as she acted as if she wanted to keep the rabbit. Yunchujo did not comment. She thought to herself, little fellow, you fell into my hands, and you still want to negotiate with me? Are you dreaming? I won't torture you to death. Qiying's spirit was much stronger than the rodent hurricane rabbit, so in the blink of an eye, he had killed the original rabbit spirit and replaced it. Qiying stared at Wu Yun with his red eyes. Seeing that Wu Yun was getting closer and closer, he could not wait to find a place to hide. However, this was his first time being a rabbit, so he didn't know how to hop on all fours. He had no choice but to stand on two hind legs and hide in a corner with difficulty. Biming glanced at the rabbit in the corner coldly and curled the corner of his mouth. He lit a candle in his heart for Qi Ying's future. Prince Charming, get out of the way. Don't delay me from absorbing the lightning. I'll see if there's a suitable opportunity. I still want to catch a few little Wu Yun. He Xinjiu pushed Biming to the side and said, Qi Ying. Chapter 46-26 was about to turn into a rabbit with dementia. Qi Ying felt that the whole rabbit was in bad shape. What the hell? Did he hear wrongly? This wretched girl said that she wanted to catch a few little Wu Yun. Did she think that Wu Yun was a fish? And she even wanted to catch a few little Wu Yun? At this moment, a purple heavenly lightning tore through the sky and struck down fiercely towards He Xinjiu. Qi Ying was stunned to see that after Yun Chujiu was struck, not only did she not feel uncomfortable at all, she even had an expression of enjoyment. Qi Ying instantly felt terrible. Qi Ying had been in the ghost realm the whole time. Although he had received some news about Yun Chujiu, it was just a few words. Moreover, he had heard that it could be the same as what he had seen with his own eyes. Heavenly lightning struck down one after another, and countless bolts of lightning illuminated the entire Nameless Sword sect as if it was daytime. The Nameless Sword sect was really unlucky. They were originally sleeping soundly. However, they were awakened by the immense pressure and were immediately frightened out of their wits by such a terrifying scene. What on earth had their Nameless Sword sect angered the might of the heavens? How could there be such a powerful lightning tribulation? Speaking of which, even though there had been a few lightning strikes before, it wasn't as terrifying as this one. What on earth was going on? The elders all went to Master Ouyang's courtyard on their own initiative. Their faces were filled with worry. They couldn't understand why they had been punished by the heavens. Elder Dongfang suddenly slapped his thigh. Look at the direction of the lightning strikes. It seems to be Little Nine's courtyard. Could it be that Little Nine has returned? Elder Wan snorted coldly. That Yun Chujiu has been missing for many days. I'm afraid she's already dead. Moreover, even if she's still alive, how could she not alert the disciples guarding the mountain gate to return to her courtyard? Moreover, even though she has a heavenly lightning spirit root that the heavenly Tao doesn't tolerate, she can't attract such a large group of people? You think too highly of her. Elder Dongfang choked. Although what Elder Wan said was unpleasant, it made sense. Little Nine had been missing for more than a year. How could she suddenly return safely? When Master Ouyang heard the two of them mention Yun Chujiu, he sighed in his heart. Back then, Little Nine had completed the task of auditing the accounts. He had handed over the 3 courtyards kitchen to her to manage. Who would have thought that little girl would disappear within a few days? Although master and disciple had not spent much time together, he still thought of that little girl from time to time. He had also sent many disciples to investigate, but that little girl seemed to have disappeared into thin air. There was not a single useful clue. As time passed, the lightning became denser and denser. The loud rumbling sound made people's ears feel a little uncomfortable. Oh my God, that ugly bird that was as fat as a ball could actually absorb lightning? That unattractive Xiao Mogu was not afraid of the lightning? And that big black pig was a spiritual beast, right? It could actually swallow lightning? Oh my God, could it be that he had stayed in the ghost realm for too long, so he couldn't keep up with the situation? Was he already so abnormal now? He thought that all of this was enough to shock the world, but he soon saw He Xinjiu sitting on a small dark cloud, taking out a hook that was like a fishing rod and flying toward Wu Yun happily. Was she crazy? Was she taking the initiative to die? Then, Qi Ying saw that Wu Yun seemed to have seen a flood or a fierce beast. He immediately scattered, afraid that if he was half a step slower, he would be in trouble. Chapter 46-27 became bald again. Qi rubbed his eyes, feeling that there was something wrong with his eyes. Just as he was in a daze, he heard He Xinjiu shout, "Hey, little darlings, don't run. Miss is just playing with you." Qi. Could he go back on his words now? Could he return to the ghost realm? How could he survive with such a pervert by her side? He Xinjiu had been shouting for a long time, but the dark clouds did not come close to her. What a joke. The whole dark cloud world had spread that there was a pervert who specialized in fishing for Wu Yun's wings. Unless they were stupid, they would not come close to her. He Xinjiu's shouting attracted a lot of attention even though she did not manage to fish for Wu Yun's wings. Some disciples pointed at the dark clouds in the sky and said, "Good boy, isn't that Yun Chuzhou? It's our sect master's last disciple. Didn't she say that she had gone missing? Why did she come back? And what is she doing? Why do those dark clouds seem to be afraid of her? She has a heavenly thunder spirit root. I guess she is the one who attracted the heavenly thunder. I don't know what she said just now when she was too far away. Maybe those dark clouds are not afraid of her, but just happen to think that they will strike her after resting for a while." Yes, that should be the case. Elder Dong Fong looked at Elder Wan proudly. "Elder Wan, did you see that? That spirit tool clearly shows little Nine's lass. Didn't you say that it was impossible for her to return? Didn't you say that the heavenly lightning wasn't aimed at her?" Elder Wan's face flushed red. Damn it, this smelly lass was at odds with him. During the period when she went missing, he had had a smooth ride. He didn't expect that the moment she returned, she would cause him to lose face. She really deserved to die. He snorted coldly, "Even if what I said before was wrong, judging from this situation, those Wuyun won't just give up. Her life might not even be preserved. HMPH, it doesn't make any difference whether this trash comes back or not. In any case, he will die." Master Ouyang said unhappily, "Elder Wan, watch your words." Although Elder Wan felt indignant in his heart, he didn't dare to openly contradict Master Ouyang. He hated him in his heart. Soon, he would be able to replace Master Ouyang. When the time came, how could this old man be proud? He looked at He Xinjiu in the air and gnashed his teeth in hatred. Even if the heavenly lightning couldn't kill this bitch, he would find an opportunity to kill her. When the dark clouds saw that Yun Chuzhou had returned to the ground, they returned and continued to attack her. After a while, He Xinjiu felt that she could not take it anymore, so she sat on the small dark clouds to scare the dark clouds again. She used this opportunity to catch her breath. When she recovered a little, she returned to the courtyard to be struck again. It was simply wonderful. The red shadow rabbit's initial shock had turned into numbness. Anyway, it was normal for anything to happen to a pervert. Just as he was thinking about it, a sharp palm wind attacked him and he fainted. Before he lost consciousness, he saw that the person who attacked him was Di Baiming. What did he mean? Was Di Baiming going to kill him? Qi Ying did not know that He Xinjiu had suffered so many lightning strikes. It was still fine if her hair and eyebrows were gone. Although the clothes on her body were carefully collected by Di Baiming for her, they were still damaged. Qi Ying naturally would not let Qi Ying see a certain someone who was jealous. After he knocked Qi Ying out, he took out a few pieces of his own clothes and let Yun Chuzhou put them on. He Xinjiu then touched her hair. Damn it, she was bald again. Chapter 46-28 broke through 10 levels in a row. He Xinjiu was already very calm about things like baldy. After all, she had been a pig demon before, so she was not lacking a baldy. The heavenly lightning struck from midnight until the next morning. He Xinjiu's house was reduced to ashes, and the courtyard was filled with deep pits. In order to avoid being exposed, He Xinjiu kept putting on clothes. Her heart ached terribly. This was all money. Finally, the Wu Yun in the sky couldn't wait to float away. They didn't want to stay here any longer. This pervert wanted to use a hook to fish for their wings from time to time. It was too terrifying. Hei Shinjo saw that the Wu Yun had already floated away. She hurriedly took out a new set of clothes and put them on. This fellow knew that with such a big commotion, Master Ouyang and the others would definitely come over soon. Chu Feng was so excited that tears filled his eyes. Junior Sister Yun, is it really you? It's great that you're okay. I've missed you so much. Chu Feng was still in the middle when he felt a huge force coming at him. He flew out like a kite with a broken string. A certain someone retracted his hand and snorted coldly in his heart. This thing that could be bent or straight was really annoying. A certain someone did not forget about the matter of the little darling. Although Yun Shujo said that the little darling was referring to the big black pot, with the temper of a certain someone who had matured from jealousy, he still did not like Chu Feng no matter how he looked at him. Hei Shinjo heard a bang in the distance and shrunk her neck. Senior brother Chu, it's not that I don't want to help you, but I'm really powerless. At this moment, Master Ouyang and the others had arrived. Since they had met Di Biming last time, they weren't too surprised. After all, this fiend was Yun Shujia's fiancé, so it was normal for him to appear here. No wonder Yun Shujo could return to the sect without a sound. It was all thanks to her fiancé. Di Biming was as cold and aloof as always. He only nodded slightly as a greeting. Hei Shinjo was just about to brush up her good impression, but she didn't expect the spiritual power in her body to surge. It turned out that she was about to break through. This fellow quickly sat down cross-legged and began to break through. Master Ouyang and the others could only wait at the side, but they quickly lost their composure. Because Yun Shujia's spiritual power soared one after another, it simply made people feel as if they were seeing things. Third level of spiritual nothingness, fourth level of spiritual nothingness, ninth level of spiritual nothingness. First level of spiritual nothingness. It only stopped after reaching the third level of spiritual nothingness. Master Ouyang and the others were stunned. Chu Feng counted with his fingers. Oh my god, Junior Sister Yun had broken through from level 2 to level 3, directly breaking through to level 10? Was she still human? Qi Ying, who was slowly waking up in the corner, had his rabbit eyes almost popped out. This stupid girl was not human at all. She was a pervert. However, he thought of Yun Shujia's identity in his previous life and felt that it was reasonable. After going through the ghost and demon regions, Yun Shujia's primordial spirit had become much stronger. In addition, she had enough power of lightning. It was normal for her to break through to the 10th layer in one go. Normal, right? Yun Shujo stood up after her breakthrough and realized that she had broken through so much in one go. Her little face, which was covered in ashes, was instantly beaming with joy. The third layer of the nirvana of souls had already reached the average level of a true disciple. Who would dare to call her a waste in the future? Thinking about how she, the grand ghost ancestor, had to start from a small shrimp in the towering sky continent, it was really sad. This fellow thought as he bared his little white teeth at Master Ouyang. Master, your most precious disciple has returned. Chapter 46-29 Is your new spiritual pet? Master Ouyang finally recovered from Hei Xinjia's heaven-defying breakthrough. He nodded and said, "It's good that you're back. Where have you been for the past year?" Before Hei Shinjo could say anything, Elder Wan snorted coldly and said, "Yun Shujo, as the successor disciple of the sect leader, how should you be punished for leaving the sect without permission?" Before Hei Shinjo could think of an excuse, Di Biming said coldly, "It was me who took her away." What? Do you have a problem with that? Under Di Biming's pressure, Elder Wan instantly broke out in cold sweat. His legs were even trembling. He gritted his teeth and said, No. I was just saying." Di Biming looked at him coldly and did not say anything else. Hei Shinjo felt that the gigolo was simply too damn handsome. If it were not for the fact that there were many people present, this guy would definitely go up and take a few bites. However, he still had to explain. After all, Di Biming would be leaving soon, and she still had to stay in the Nameless Sword sect for a period of time. This guy instantly squeezed out a few tears. Master, I suddenly contracted a terrible disease that day. My fiancé took me to find someone to treat it. I was unconscious for more than a year and only woke up a few days ago. My fiancé didn't think properly and didn't greet you. I apologize to you on his behalf. Master Ouyang naturally didn't believe this fellow's nonsense in his heart. You're as lively as a rabbit. How could you look like you've just recovered from a serious illness? However, he didn't dare to offend Di Biming. He laughed and said, I see. Since there's a reason for this matter, then let's leave it at that. Elder Wan was secretly resentful, but he did not dare to say a word. He was afraid that Di Biming would kill him. Master Ouyang was a little concerned. He inadvertently saw the red shadow rabbit in the corner and asked curiously, Little Nine, is that your new spiritual pet? Chi-ing. You are the spiritual pet. Your whole family is a spiritual pet. Master Ouyang nodded. He was a little puzzled. This rabbit was a little special. Why was it always standing on two legs? Did it not find it tiring? Master Ouyang said a few more words to take good care of his body and even specially invited Di Biming to stay for a few more days to host a banquet for Yun Yun. Di Biming coldly rejected the invitation to attend the banquet. Master Ouyang did not dare to say anything more, thinking that this person was too cold and aloof. After Master Ouyang and the others left, Chu Fong also turned around and left. Yun Shujiu found it funny in her heart. She knew that Chu Fong must have something to look for her, and it was most likely about Little Moon. However, she did not have the time to pay attention to him with her current wretched appearance, so she pretended not to see him. Since Hei Xinjia's courtyard had been destroyed, it would take at least 2 to 3 days to rebuild it. Therefore, the guy found an empty courtyard to stay in. After bathing and changing, Hei Shinjo drew her eyebrows and tied a handkerchief on her head before she left the house. When she came out, she happened to see Di Biming putting away a voice transmission rune. Was it sent from the head of the black chicken? Di Biming nodded. Over the past year, he and Feng have been having a hard time. Some of the forces that we originally established have also been completely devoured. Prince Charming, I'm already a ghost ancestor now. Shouldn't you tell me some things that you know? For example, what have you and Black Rooster's head been doing? And for example, where are my parents? Yun Shujiu blinked her eyes and asked. No matter how powerful the master of the Divine Devil Hall is, there will be times when he will be careless. Sooner or later, we will find his lair and kill him. Moreover, doesn't this red shadow rabbit want to be a spy? Let's just beat him at his own game. Who knows, the breakthrough might be on him. Di Biming looked at the Chi-ing rabbit who had fainted in the corner. The news that you are the reincarnation of the ghost ancestor cannot be leaked to the Divine Devil Hall. I think it is safer to kill him. Yun Shujiu smiled sinisterly. Prince Charming, don't worry. From now on, he will be a rabbit. I will let Curly Hair keep an eye on him. He won't be able to escape from my palm. Di Biming looked at the red shadow rabbit in the corner with a complicated gaze. His future life would definitely be exciting. Chapter 4631, Shui Wuji's past life. What about my parents? Where are they? Yun Shujiu looked up at Di Biming with anticipation. Di Biming hesitated for a moment before saying, they are all in the Chongshao continent, so their lives are not in danger for the time being. Also, according to the information I found, there is something fishy about the Yun family's ancestral tomb. Yun Shujio was not too surprised by this. She had long felt that the Yun family's ancestral tomb was very strange. How could there be a clan member left behind to guard the tomb? Moreover, the manor head had shut himself in on the night of the full moon. It was obvious that there was a problem. Yun Shujio did not continue to ask Yun Fongjin and Yilan where they were. Even Di Baiming was unable to save them now. It was useless for her to ask. It was more important to increase her strength. For a moment, the two of them did not speak. "Oh right, Prince Charming, you said that you were a Shengzun in your previous life. Isn't there a seal on Wu Jia's head? What was he in his previous life?" Yun Shujio asked curiously. Di Baiming frowned slightly. "Although I'm not sure, it's most likely related to the demon race." "Demon race?" Yun Shujio suddenly raised her voice. "Wu Jia's head might cause trouble. The human race and the demon race are like fire and water. In the future, when his seal is completely broken, he won't turn hostile and refuse to acknowledge us, right?" Di Baiming was amused by her words. Breaking the seal is not like losing his memory. Although that idiot is a little stupid, he's still okay. He won't do anything to betray me or hurt you. She asked her own question, and Di Baiming chuckled. Who said that humans can't become the Lord and the Ghost Ancestor? Yun Shujio touched her nose. That was true. Besides, it didn't matter if they were human or not. After all, they had done it before, so what was there to be afraid of? "Prince Charming, how about this? You go and do your thing. As for me, I will think of a way to take care of the 9 pavilions. Even if there is someone behind the 9 pavilions, they won't be able to extend their hand too far. In addition, I will think of a way to get the pearls from the other 5 sects to feed to the Black Pearl. Perhaps the Black Pearl will be of great help to us in the future." Yun Shujio pretended to be relaxed as she said. Although she could not bear for Di Baiming to leave, Shui Wuji and Enfeng obviously could not hold on any longer, so she could only let Di Baiming leave. Moreover, if she wanted to save her parents and find out the truth of her past life, she had to work hard to become stronger. Whether it was her or Di Baiming, the two of them had to carry a heavy burden in order to have the right to be together for a long time. Di Baiming did not say anything. He just kissed Yun Shujio's forehead and disappeared in a flash. Just as Yun Shujio was feeling depressed, Qiying woke up. He walked to Yun Shujio's side with great effort. "Yun Shujio, when are you going to find me a human body? If you don't find me a human body, I will go find it myself." Hei Xinjiu was in a bad mood. When she heard that, she kicked the unlucky Qiying away. "Get lost. Get as far away as possible." Qiying Rabbit, who had almost fainted from the kick, was dumbfounded. Where was Brother Qiying? Where was their cooperation? Where was their love for each other? In the past, it was fine if they were violent with their words, but now they were using their feet to kick him? Qiying was stunned for a long while before he got up and walked out of the courtyard. HMPH, even without this wretched girl's help, he could still find a body that could possess him. Chapter 46-32 You dare to touch my rabbit? Qiying snorted coldly in his heart. He would simply find someone to possess him and then leave the nameless sword sect. When that time came, he would be able to make a great contribution by telling them about the ghost realm and the demon realm. Wan Pengcheng had long hated Yun Shujio to death, but he had failed repeatedly. He originally thought that Yun Shujio was dead, but he did not expect that not only was she not dead, but she had also caused trouble for his grandfather the moment she returned. She really deserved to die. However, Elder Wan had instructed Wan Pengcheng not to act rashly because the man beside Yun Shujio was too terrifying. Therefore, Wan Pengcheng did not dare to look for trouble with Yun Shujio. Coincidentally, he had bumped into Qiying, who was looking for its shell. Senior Marshal Brother Wan, this is the stupid rabbit that Yun Chujo just recently accepted that can only walk on 2 legs. One of the lackeys said obsequiously. Wan Pengcheng sneered. It just so happens that I want to eat rabbit meat. Kill it for me. Anyway, our nameless sword sect doesn't allow spirit beasts to wander around on their own. It's asking for it. Chi Ying revealed a disdainful expression. Just these few good-for-nothings wanted to capture him? He was really dreaming. However, he forgot that the rodent hurricane rabbit he possessed was only at level 63, which was equivalent to the first layer of the soulless realm. It was a trash existence in the nameless sword sect. In a moment, he was captured by Wan Pengcheng's lackeys. One of them took out a treasured sword and was about to chop off his rabbit head. Chi Ying was really scared now. Although he could release his primordial spirit, it was very fragile outside the ghost realm. Even if he did, it would be a death sentence. He regretted it. Wasn't he just kicked? It was fine if he endured it, but why did he have to run away from home? If he was given another chance, he would definitely silently endure that kick. No, he would not even get close to that smelly girl. Just as Chi Ying was regretting his decision, the disciple who controlled him suddenly fell to the ground. Although Chi Ying did not know what happened, he ran back to save his life. However, he only knew how to walk on 2 legs. He would fall to the ground after running a few steps. It was a terrible sight. Wan Pengcheng and the others were just teasing him. They followed behind him and laughed loudly. Chi Ying almost wanted to die. At this moment, he saw Yun Chujo slowly walking over with a big kitchen knife. It was the second time Chi Ying was so happy to see He Xinjiu. As for the first time, it was naturally in the demon area. Yun Chujo glanced at the red shadow rabbit with a faint smile and said softly, "Didn't you say that I ran away from home? Go away." Chi Ying tightly shut his mouth and didn't say anything. He finally understood his situation now. If others knew that he could speak, his life would probably be lost. Yun Chujo snorted coldly and looked at Wan Pengcheng and the others who followed closely behind. What? Is it because I've been away for a long time that some people don't know the immensity of heaven and earth? My rabbit dares to have designs on me? Is it tired of living? Yun Chujo said casually. Wan Pengcheng was afraid of debeiming and was about to turn around to leave when a lackey came to his side and said, "Senior brother Wan, the people who are watching said that the wild man has left." Wan Pengcheng immediately became confident when he heard that. As long as the wild man was not here, he was not afraid of her. As for Master Ouyang, his grandfather had said that he would replace him very soon. Chapter 46-33 Rabbit. Yun Chujo had also heard the lackey's words. She had long known that there were spies around the courtyard, but she couldn't be bothered with them. If she wanted to gain a foothold in the nameless sword sect, the first step would be to make an attack on Elder Wan. She had been worried that she wouldn't have an excuse. This Wan Pengcheng was really courting death. Yun Chujo, stop pretending. Your spiritual pet trespassed in the sect without permission and violated the sect rules. I want to catch it and punish it on the spot. You'd better not stop it, or you'll be violating the sect rules, Wan Pengcheng said arrogantly. Trespassing without permission? Are you blind? Can't you see that I'm walking the rabbit? Yun Chujo pouted and said. Chi Ying, he never thought that the word walking could be used on him. Yun Chujo, don't be unreasonable. If you don't hand over the rabbit today, don't blame us for being impolite. Wan Pengcheng had intended to use this as an excuse to make a scene, so he naturally played right into Yun Chujo's hands. Hand over your grandmother's leg. After Yun Chujo finished her words, her body moved as well. The big kitchen knife in her hand slashed at Wan Pengcheng's neck. Wan Pengcheng was obviously not used to this kind of fighting style where he would start a fight at the slightest disagreement. In addition, He Xinjia's spiritual power was now higher than his. Although her neck was not cut, her shoulder was cut with a wound so deep that the bone could be seen. A quarter of an hour later, Wan Pengcheng and his lackeys were lying on the ground, screaming. Yun Shujiao looked at Qi Ying, who was stunned, and said, "Go and slap them. The harder, the better." Qi Ying did not understand why, but when he thought of the detestable nature of these people, he immediately became angry. He walked in front of those people and slapped them. Some of their teeth were knocked out. "All right, stop hitting them. Let's go. Well, continue walking tomorrow," Yun Shujiao said with a smile. Qi Ying did not have anywhere else to go, so he used all his strength to follow behind Yun Shujiao with his 2 rabbit legs and returned to the courtyard. He had also arrived at the courtyard. He also understood why Yun Shujiao wanted him to slap those people's faces. This vicious little girl was trying to attract hatred. Those people must hate him to death. If he dared to go out alone in the future, he would definitely be beaten to death. Qi Ying simply felt that he had no hope in life. He had a premonition that he was going to be a rabbit forever. Yun Shujiao did not pay attention to him. Instead, she looked at the 2 wisps of almost invisible drifters with admiration. Of course, she would not let Qi Ying leave, so she sent the 2 wisps of drifters to follow him. Otherwise, the disciple who controlled Qi Ying would not have suddenly fallen. Yun Shujiao rubbed her chin and pondered. Wan Pengcheng had been beaten up by her, so Elder Wan would definitely complain to Master Ouyang. She had to beat him to it. Thinking of this, Yun Shujiao prepared to go to Master Ouyang, to complain. Qi Ying became anxious when he saw that she was about to leave. "Yun Shujiao, where are you going?" Yun Shujiao glanced at him. "Do I have to report to you where I'm going? Get lost." Qi Ying was so angry that he gritted his teeth, but he still swallowed his anger and said, "Bring me with you. Otherwise, I'm afraid those people will come to take revenge." Yun Shujiao rolled her eyes. "You're not a real spiritual beast. I can't put you into the spiritual beast bag at all." In order to prove her words, Yun Shujiao used her spiritual sense to try to put Qi Ying into the spiritual beast pouch. However, Qi Ying disappeared from the spot with a whoosh. Chapter 46-34, Qi Ying who has nothing left to live for. Where's the rabbit? Where did it go? Just as Yun Shujiao was in a daze, Dog 2's maniacal laughter came from her spiritual sense. Little fairy, ahaha, little shadow has been put into your spirit beast bag. Ha ha ha, I'm dying of laughter. He has become your spirit beast. Yun Shujiao used her spiritual sense to scan the spirit beast pouch and saw a rabbit that stood out from the crowd. The reason why he stood out from the crowd was because he was standing on 2 legs. Naturally, he was a level higher than the other dumb cubs. Qi Ying had already begun to doubt life. He was a human, all right? Although he had possessed the rabbit, his primordial spirit was a human. Why was he put into the spiritual beast bag? Why was he put into the spiritual beast bag? Why was he put into the spiritual beast bag? Yun Shujiao, let me out. Find me a human body right now, or I will kill myself. No, I will self-detonate my primordial spirit. Qi Ying felt that he was going crazy, and he roared loudly. It was a pity that he had no spiritual connection with Yun Shujiao, so Yun Shujiao could not hear him at all. However, He Xinjiao knew that Qi Ying was probably going crazy even with her heel. She used her spiritual sense to say to the dumb cuties, knock him out so he doesn't scream. Therefore, the miserable Qi Ying was knocked out by a group of dumb cuties. Buttface curled his lips. You still want to be a spy by the little fairy's side? I can't torture you to death. Yun Shujiao was actually very puzzled. It was strange. Why did she put Qi Ying into the spirit beast pouch? Previously, when the gigolo turned into a snake, she also tried, but it didn't succeed. How did it succeed with Qi-Ying? It was simply too strange. Yun Shujo didn't have a clue at the moment, so she didn't have the time to think about it. She simply threw this matter to the back of her mind and ran to Master Ouyang's courtyard. Master, Master, my most respected master, your precious disciple has come to see you. He Xinjia's voice arrived before she arrived. The corner of Master Ouyang's eyes twitched. It seemed that his courtyard would not be peaceful in the future. He Xinjiu entered the house and first bowed. Then, she said with a smile, Master, during the time I was away, did that shameless Elder Wan make you angry a lot? Although Master Ouyang was dissatisfied with Elder Wan, as the sect leader of a sect, he naturally could not speak ill of him. Therefore, he just smiled and did not say anything. Master, it seems that I guessed correctly. The so-called disciple is Master's intimate little cotton-padded jacket. If that old thing bullies you, then he'll beat up his grandson. Master, I just gave that Wan Pengsheng a good beating. I guarantee that he won't recover for 10 days to half a month. After saying this, He Xinjiu looked at Master Ouyang with an expression that asked for praise. Master Ouyang. Master, don't worry. Although I can't beat that old man, Elder Wan, it's not a problem for me to deal with his son and grandson. You just wait and see. He Xinjiu said flatteringly. Master Ouyang suddenly felt a headache. He felt that his peaceful life was gone forever. At this moment, a guard came in and reported, Master, Elder Wan wants to see you. He asked someone to carry Wan Pengsheng with him. After the guard left, He Xinjiu said with a smile, Master, I'm doing this for you. You can't just ignore me. Master Ouyang felt his head hurt even more. He sighed, you beat him up, there must be a reason, right? Why did you beat that Wan Pengsheng? He stopped me from walking the rabbit. Yun Shujo said righteously. Chapter 46-35 begins. Your performance. Master Ouyang almost spat out a mouthful of blood. What the hell kind of reason was that? As a cultivator, who would be free to walk a rabbit for fun? Seeing the situation, He Xinjiu hurriedly continued, as you can see, my rabbit is a stupid rabbit. It can't walk on 4 legs, so I plan to walk it often. Maybe it will learn how to walk on 4 legs. I was just walking the rabbit, but that Wan Pengsheng accused my rabbit of trespassing in the sect and tried to kill my rabbit. The most annoying thing is that Wan Pengsheng said that you are nothing. He said that you are just a decoration and didn't dare to do anything to him. When I heard that, my little temper flared up, so I beat him and his lackeys. Master Ouyang's expression suddenly became a little ugly, but it was true. No matter who it was, no one would be in a good mood. Did he really say that? Master Ouyang asked in a deep voice. Absolutely true. My rabbit can prove it to me. That Wan Pengsheng also said that I won't be a true disciple of the sect master for a few more days. Master, what do you think he meant by that? Yun Shujo blinked her eyes and asked. Master Ouyang slammed the table angrily. What did he mean? Elder Wan was trying to replace him. How detestable. Yun Shujo stole a glance at Master Ouyang's ashen face and was secretly happy. Everyone knew that Elder Wan wanted to replace him, so she wasn't lying. She was just helping them speak their hearts. Don't thank her too much. At this moment, Elder Wan walked in. Someone was carrying a soft couch behind him, and Wan Pengsheng was lying on it half dead. Not only that, there were elders who requested to see him one after another. It was obvious that they were all called by Elder Wan. They were here to cheer for him. Yun Shujo blinked her eyes. Master, I'm not afraid of my shoes being crooked. Why don't you just call all the elders over so that everyone can judge me? I'm going to be bullied to death. The corner of Master Ouyang's eyes twitched. Wan Pengsheng's face was swollen like a pig's head. There were even lines on his face. No one knew what sharp weapon he had used. His body was also covered in blood. It was obvious that his injuries were not light. On the other hand, his precious disciple did not even have a speck of mud on his body, let alone blood. Who was bullying who? However, Master Ouyang knew that this disciple of his was full of bad intentions. Perhaps he could reverse the truth. Hence, Elder Ouyang called all the elders over. This was also good. He could take this opportunity to get more people to defect to him. Very soon, all the elders were present. They looked at Wan Pengcheng, who was half dead on the soft couch. They were all confused. What was going on? When everyone had arrived, before Elder Wan could say anything, He Xingjiu said tearfully, "Elders, you must stand up for me. My master said that he would not stand up for me because of the harmony of the sect and the stability of the overall situation. I'm so miserable." The corner of Master Ouyang's eyes twitched violently once again. "Precious disciple, begin your performance." Elder Dongfang was very cooperative with He Xingjiu, his face full of concern. "Little Jiu, who bullied you? Sect master, this is your fault. No matter how much you think about the overall situation, you can't let little Jiu suffer." Chapter 46-36. Grand Disciple Master Ouyang sighed and didn't say anything. Actually, he didn't know what to say. This was the safest way. When everyone saw Master Ouyang like this, they immediately thought of something. Everyone knew that Master Ouyang and Elder Wan weren't on good terms. Could it be that Master Ouyang really had something to hide? Elder Wan felt everyone's suspicious gaze and almost went mad. However, Yun Shujiu did not mention her name. If he said anything now, he would fall into her trap. Unfortunately, he understood this logic, but Wan Pengcheng did not. Wan Pengcheng shouted in exasperation, "Yun Shujiu, you bitch. You were clearly the one who beat me to such a state, but now you are pretending to be pitiful. Don't believe her." Elder Wan almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He could only say, "Sect master, Yun Shujiu beat my grandson to such a state for no reason. Now she wants the villain to complain first. Sect master, please give us justice." Before Master Ouyang could say anything, he heard Yun Shujiu sobbing, "Did you all see that? I haven't even said anything yet, and they are already forcing my master. In order to satisfy them, my master forced me to compromise. I'm really too miserable." Master Ouyang sighed again when he heard that and didn't say anything. In this way, it gave everyone endless daydreams. Elder Wan was so angry that he almost twitched. He pointed at Yun Shujiu and said, "Good, good. Then explain to everyone why you beat Pengcheng." Yun Shujiu wiped her tears and said angrily, "Because he hit my rabbit and said that my master is nothing. He also said that my master and I are rabbits and our tails can't grow." Elder Wan, do you think Wan Pengcheng should be hit? Or did you teach him to say these words? Wan Pengcheng was so angry that he directly sat up from the soft couch. "Yun Shujiu, you're farting. When did I say such a thing?" Yun Shujiu sneered. "Did you see that, everyone?" He could have just sat up, but he was lying on the soft couch. He was obviously pretending to be pitiful. "I just lightly hit him a few times before. The rest of the injuries were caused by himself. He was just trying to make me suffer. Also, my rabbit can prove that he said those words that insulted my master." Wan Pengcheng almost fainted from anger. Fortunately, he saw the hint Elder Wan gave him and quickly said, "You're talking nonsense. I have witnesses. Junior brother Lu, junior brother Qi, and junior brother Bao can prove it for me. It was clearly your rabbit that ran around in the sect and violated the sect rules. We wanted to catch the rabbit and go to the law enforcement office, but you beat us up. I didn't say those words that insulted the sect leader. Of course your people have to speak up for you, so your witnesses don't count. You insulted my master. You dare to scold but you don't dare to admit it, you coward. Yun Shujo said with a pout. Wan Pengcheng naturally didn't show weakness, so the two of them quarreled. Everyone looked at each other. There was no way to settle this lawsuit, because no one knew whether Wan Pengcheng scolded the sect leader or not. At this time, Yun Shujo raised her voice and said, to take a step back, even if what you said is right, I was just walking my rabbit, what right do you have to beat my rabbit? As the saying goes, you still have to look at the master to beat the rabbit. Strictly speaking, my rabbit is my master's grand disciple. What right do you have to beat my master's grand disciple? Pu Master Ouyang spat out a mouthful of tea. Grand disciple? He didn't have such a grand disciple. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.